Alrighty, welcome to the WAEV Network special episode 129 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla's increased the prices of standard range Model 3s and Model Ys in Australia by $400. Interestingly, the cost of all other variants remains unchanged. In a 55% majority decision, the European Union has voted to enact legislation requiring new cars cut CO2 emissions by 100% by 2035. This means that no fossil fuel cars will be allowed to be sold in the EU beyond that date. Well-known Australian Tesla shipping tracker Vita Prime has sparked speculation that the long-awaited refreshed versions of Model S and X may soon be on their way to Australia. Vita Prime's tweet, combined with Tesla requesting registration details from a number of Model X order holders, is the clearest indication yet that Tesla may finally be preparing for a first shipment of right-hand drive Model S's and X's into Australia. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome everyone. As is customary, if there's anyone that's new and would like to say hello, please unmute yourself and say hello anytime in the next little bit.
Hello, my name is Chris Harrison.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, I joined the meeting last week a bit late. I missed the welcome bit. Sorry, team. So I thought I'd make sure I get it on time and then I can nick off and have dinner.
Very good.
I enjoyed the meeting last week. It was, sorry, back to basics. I've ordered a Model Y late December, shipment February to May. And I was wishful thinking, well, February's half through, where's the car? But obviously that's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I live in Karrinyup, so it's handy having the chargers at the shops, but very disappointed that there was, which I didn't pick up, because I'm just a bit daft, that there was no charging lead included. And consequently, I was asking last week on some of the members about getting one and whether one should pay the Tesla price or whether there's an aftermarket price or what's the best option to get it. It's quite annoyed really. You get a phone and you get a lead. You get and that's $1,500, $1,600, $2,000, whatever the phone costs. And you get a car, you don't get the lead.
That's true, but at the moment, what we do know is there was a period of time when the UMC, the Universal Mobile Connector, the portable charger, came with the price of the car. And then I think it was in July-ish when that then stopped. So I guess you could argue that that was a bit of shrinkflation. The price of the car didn't go up, but you got a little bit less with the car.
Yeah.
But this quarter, all cars being delivered up until March, Tesla has guaranteed that they all will have UMCs, regardless of when they were actually ordered. Now, it's still possible that Tesla may continue that, let's call it generosity, next quarter. Possibly. We don't know that for sure, but that might happen.
So when you said this quarter, you're talking about March, right?
Yes, first quarter. So from
if I get it, then I might crack it.
Yeah, except I dare say, Chris, that if you've got when you manage your order and it says expected delivery February to May, I think you've got two chances of getting it in March, and both of those are not favourable.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, at this stage. It's possible it could change. People do cancel orders for various reasons. Often finance falls through and other things. So you could get lucky, but I would not. I wouldn't be booking a road trip on the strength of having it before next quarter.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
What variant did you book, Chris? What variant did you order?
Just the standard rear-wheel drive.
White with black seats, or?
Yeah, white with black seats. Yeah, because my wife said I don't look after my current car that well. Don't get white seats because then it'll really be bad, and then I'll be embarrassed because she's right again. As we all know.
Well, we're gonna bid Mrs. Harrison a very nice evening, and thank you for joining us. What
Yeah,
what
thank
your
you.
lovely husband just said, he was only kidding, um, but because
Yeah,
mind you, Mrs. Harrison could be watching this on youtube.com/Tokwa.
right.
Um, but
So
actually,
Chris,
it's go Pete.
sorry to interrupt. So Chris, was that a Model Y?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put my number in the chat. Give me a call, and yeah, I'll have a chat with you.
Please, yeah, that'll be. Thank you.
Nice.
Alrighty, is there anyone else? And also, Chris, we'll get to any of your other questions a little bit later on, if that's okay. And because no
Sure.
doubt you've got plenty of them, and that's what we're here to answer, obviously. Okay, so anyone else that who is new, would like to say hello, please? Or perhaps later.
We've got
Okay.
40 people on, which is quite a high number. I don't think I've seen that many on for a while.
I think that's getting close to a personal best, Nigel. So welcome everyone. And like I said, obviously you can already tell that we're super casual. So, absolutely just unmute, say hello, interrupt, whatever, because like I said,
We're
we're
not
super
going
duper
to
casual.
laugh at you. Trust, well, not much anyway.
Oh, that even though he is grumpy, his name is Grumpy. His real name's Nigel, and he's a relatively nice man. But yeah, so
Relatively.
please, relatively. Alrighty. Oh, I'd like to welcome back Chuck. I did see Chuck. I think Chuck might have just unthinged his camera, but welcome back, Chuck, from the future. There he is. And also, so Charles is actually Toka's rep in Tasmania, and he's also, well, how would you describe it? Chuck, you're on the supercharge.info team. You basically help curate that website.
Yeah, so I run the Tokwa Hobart Consulate, you could say, and yeah, I volunteer for a few places, and Supercharge Info is one of them.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, like I said, welcome back from the future, which is, yes, nearly 11 o'clock, so time's marching on. And welcome back Ant Day, who is the WA chair and secretary, because he hasn't got enough to do, of the WA branch of the Australian Electric Vehicle Association, also known as EVA. So welcome back, Ant. All right, let's go straight to questions. By the way, so it wasn't a clickbait with the WAEV network update. There will be an update from Sandra Jury from Synergy, just as soon as she gets some kids to bed and all that sort of stuff, because she's very busy. But as soon as she pops on, actually, Nigel, if you could please have a look out for me. I don't think I can see all participants.
What was her name again?
Sandra.
Sandra. I will look for a Sandra and let you know as soon as I notice it.
Oh no, we got the whole 40 on the screen. No, actually, I've got them all, so that's good. Awesome. Got 40. Cool. Alrighty. So has anyone got any questions to start us off with? Or comments? Or news?
I have got a question.
Yes, Stefan.
I'm trying to sell my
Model 3.
my Model 3 at the moment. Had it on carsales.com for a while. Obviously, haven't quite hit the right price range yet. Although last week there were 9 people who saved my ad, which apparently is significant. I don't know if it is. Anyway, what I'm asking myself is, what is the process of selling a Tesla? Because obviously it's got to be a bit different than just normal cars.
No, it's actually really simple. So you sell a Tesla in exactly the same way as you sell any car. You put it up on something like car sales for the price that you want. Someone rings you and offers an outrageously low price. You then say, there's no way I'm selling it for that insulting price level. You then wait a few months and then someone else offers you even less than that and you take it gratefully. and feel all hurt and burnt about it. But then when you actually come to the tic-tacs of actually transferring the car, you obviously still have to fill out transfer papers, which good news is these days you can just get a PDF from the Department of Transport, and you basically can type it up and print it, and you each get one copy basically, which you both have to send separately. Now, as far as actually disposing of your car through your Tesla app, that's really simple. You just get the person that's buying the car off you to, if they haven't already got one, to open a Tesla account, an Australian Tesla account. And they can just do that without any cars in it. And then what you do is you click on your car, or it might be under account, and you go dispose of car, and you then enter in the email address of the person who's buying it. That is the Tesla account email address of the person who's buying the car off you. You then say transfer, and it will basically say, are you sure? Because once you confirm it, your car will disappear from your app forever. And then when they log into their app, it'll appear. And then they'll have full control, and it's as if they've always had it. And then literally, like I said, the car in your app will disappear forever. And that's it. That's all you have to do.
And you can actually do the transfer online. When I sold mine, I got an offer, I ignored it. I got a lower offer, I said no. I got a lower offer, I said no. I got an even lower offer, I go, bugger this, yes. So
of course you did, Nigel. You did exactly what I do. That's exactly what happens.
Yes, but then I just went online to transport.wa.gov, filled out the other person's details with their driving license and so on. And within 30 seconds, they got a text message to say, you've just taken possession of this car.
Okay. So,
Yeah, and you then don't forget you've got to factory reset your car to delete all your info. I actually did a video on that just recently.
okay. What about the actual financial part of it? I mean, so when do you do that? When you've got the money in the bank, obviously.
Well, yes.
Yeah, you don't give it to them until you've got the money.
Yeah.
And it's
And
not
don't
enough
take-
it's not enough just for the money to be in your account, just so you can see it. You want to make sure it's actually cleared in your account.
Yeah.
And if you're unsure whether it's cleared, the easiest way to do that is to transfer some of that money into another account. If the funds aren't cleared, your bank won't allow you to transfer those funds into another account.
I think it actually tells you on your bank account
It does.
whether it's available or not.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. They did a transfer straight to my account, but it took 24 hours before the money appeared in my account. And I then went and transferred it into savings account and share account and bought some shares and so on. And then I said, you can come and pick up the car now. But I've actually posted the link to the video on that I did, Stefan,
Okay.
in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. And generally, the experience is that they're not easy to sell now, or
No, not at all. You just need to pick the right price. So as Nigel just described, he had a price in mind. He rejected a low offer. He then rejected the next lower offer, and he rejected the one after that. And then after that, he went, well, I've had enough of this. This has just taken too long, and took an even lower offer. So it's something. Cars like kids and parents aren't financial investments that are returning in any sort of meaningful way. So just pick a price that you're less upset about and just sell it.
I might just add that the price of second-hand Teslas did spike a little bit, sort of about middle of last year, but they have, like many other cars, they were possibly priced a little bit too much, and there was some speculation in the market. But now they're more back to realistic, decent levels, and actually, still good value. But the prices have come down a bit, and there's a little bit of a glut, I would say, of Model 3s, second-hand Model 3s out there in the market.
There's now 70. There's now only 70. There was a couple of weeks ago. There was 125.
Yeah.
So it's actually, the cars are getting bought.
Yeah. I
In
went
terms
to
of the,
places like Autoflip and We Buy Your Car,
Yeah.
and they all said, "No, take a running jump. We've got too many."
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me. I rang up, what are they called? Auto West or West something. And he didn't even want to look at it because he said, I've got 15 standing here, which I'm trying
Yeah,
to get rid
that
of."
was their
Yeah.
troubles.
So,
So if you can afford to hang on to it, Stefan, hang on to it.
So what
in
vehicle
terms
is it?
of pricing, these are figures from the US, January on to January, so year-on-year figures. The second-hand prices of cars generally in the US are down about 12.1% and down about 2% month on month. So the second-hand car market has been coming down quite a lot over the last 12 months because it had that artificially high spike, as you say.
It's even worse in Australia with the second-hand Tesla market.
so what do you reckon? I mean, it's a model, it's a 19, late 19, November 19. And it's, yeah. And it's a
How
performance.
many Ks is it? A standard range plus or a
No, it
long
just
No,
range?
it's
says
a performance.
No, it's a performance long range,
How many Ks,
but
Stefan?
it's got 46 or just over 46.
Is it
Oh,
is it
that's
this
quite
one
high.
that's for a reasonable
That's the one,
76,800?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the cheapest. That's currently the cheapest performance. So I've
Yeah.
ranked it from low to high. So then you've got an 80. Well, that'd be a fleet one. I mean a business one, a dealer's one, 80,888, and then you've got 82,000 onwards, upwards. So really, and that's if you take the performance as a badge. But if we debadge it, then in the eyes of some people, you're going to be competing with people that don't realise it's what a performance is, or just aren't prepared to pay for it. So if you just peruse through the 70 cars that are available in total, that's standard range, pluses, long range, and performance. Look, if 78,000 is too dear for the market, and I don't know if you've had any tire kickers or not, the simple process is easy. You just reduce the price until you meet the market, or you take the car off the market and don't sell it. But
Or you just leave it there and be patient.
yeah,
They just
I mean,
slowly reduce the price. I don't know.
Well, you already have the lowest price there is.
Yeah.
So one strategy is, because if you keep on reducing the price, the people that are following the car will notice that it's been reduced and they'll be less. So there's two theories. One theory is that they'll jump on it and say, oh, it's reduced, I'll go and grab it now. Or they'll just
Wait.
especially if they see a pattern of reductions, they'll just wait, thinking, well, he'll keep on, it'll be cheaper again next week. So
Yeah, I would say just take it off. Take it off the market for now, maybe for a month or so, and then
The
put it back
trouble with
on.
that is, I don't know that with carsales.com. I mean, if you take it off, you've lost your money, haven't you? I mean, it costs
You
200.
can put it on hold, I think, Stefan.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, I'll have a quick look.
I would just leave it there, and you might find someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
the Reserve Bank has said that interest rates are still going up, and in that environment, every time the interest rate goes up, people's affordability goes down, their disposable income goes down on average. So I reckon you just need to make a human decision of, do you want to sell this car or do you just want to list it for a long time? And if you want to sell it, just put it at a price that hurts you less. Because clearly if you're going to buy, for instance, for argument's sake, a Model Y to replace it, and that's already coming, well, then you either cancel the Model Y order and keep the car you've got, or you keep the Model Y order, finance the Model 3, and just keep it in the garage.
I'm an old bugger. I can't finance stuff.
Right. So when I say finance, I mean, you just stump up the money for the Model Y out of savings or whatever,
Yeah.
or you just quit it. And like I said, they're not investments. If you're getting a Model Y, it's a superior product. You're going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy the selling process of the Model 3, but just get it done. There will be someone that will
I'm
buy
getting
it.
a Model Y is I'm getting too old to get into the Model 3.
Yep.
Join the club, Stefan.
And that's the killer app. That is the one reason why the Model Y is so much better than the Model 3. Above all else is the seating position and getting in and out for anyone that's beyond teen years or their 30s. It's just such a comfortable position to be in, to drive it and get in and out.
I'll swap my Kona, which is much easier to get into, for your Model 3 Performance, Stefan. I'm more than happy to make an exception there.
Let's
Make that sacrifice, Ant.
Yeah, that's. Ant's middle name is Shark. It's Ant Shark Day.
I also just, as a matter of interest, and not Tesla related, but I sold my 4th EV on Saturday. I sold my old Leaf, and it's interesting in the sense that a lot of people are getting really stupid prices for them, for secondhand Leafs, because they make they fulfill a gap in the market, below 30,000, below 20,000. But I sold it at what I think was a fair price, without haggling or anything, at 11,000 for my old 2012 Leaf. And the very next day, the car that the guy who bought it from me was chasing, exactly the same Leaf, sold for 15.5. So it is true that, people are out there and who will buy at, prices which aren't necessarily at the bottom of the market. It's just that really is just a matter of luck, and for somebody to come along who frankly isn't actually aware of the market trends.
And what a lot of people, I think, are not aware of, you can only get somebody in the car and just give them a test drive. I think that would change a lot of people's minds.
Yep.
Because I'm sure most people don't know what that car actually does.
Put it on the big top of the ad. Free test drive. Let me blow your mind.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Do that. See what happens.
Yeah.
You'll probably sell it.
But just sell it, Stefan. Just pick up. Just meet the market. You only live once, and you're going to enjoy the Y in any case. And in fact, you probably got the Y slightly cheaper than you otherwise would have. So
yeah, that's 400. So we still don't get. We're still over the maximum price for.
Yes, there's no tax credit. There is no $3,500 rebate for any Model Ys, and I dare say ever. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
So they've gone up $400. Right,
yep. Unless the Australian dollar miraculously gets to 80 cents US or something, you're not going to see the Y package below the $70,000 cutoff. It's just not going to happen.
Oh well. The trouble is that the 4 years warranty are running out, and that's a little bit of a,
So just flog it, Stefan. Just change the
Just
price and flog it. Just take $5,000 off it. Try and haggle up again.
Oh, geez, you definitely sell.
Yeah, well,
76. I'm surprised it hasn't gone already.
Yeah, but by the time people have paid the stamp duty, that's 80 grand.
Just ask Nigel. He had 4 offers, each sequentially lower than the previous one, before he finally relented.
Yeah, that was only because Tesla shares were going down, and then they started to go up. So I wanted to get in quick, and I've made more than that, than I lost.
So hindsight, Harry told Nigel, you should have taken the first offer that he didn't like.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway,
The problem with the market at the moment is car purchase is, for most people, the second biggest purchase they'll make. Very interest rate sensitive. All three of my cars, my interest rate on the first one was 1.99%. On the other two was 2.99%.
Yeah.
For the same car, if I was to finance it today, it'd be close to 7%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that in terms of repayments, that's more than double. and it just prices too many people out of the market.
Mm.
That's the reason why the market's coming. That combined with the fact that it had an artificial spike about a year ago. So yeah,
Plus rebates, FBT exemptions, all that sort of stuff are pushing people more towards new cars, and the second-hand market is being strung out. I think the only thing that would put people more likely to buy a second-hand car is if the delivery was taking 9-12 months, and they wanted to get into a performance or whatever. But I think Stefan should, in my opinion, take it off the market, maybe reword the advert a bit, put the price up, because I think that performance, if I had the money, I'd buy it. I don't think that performance is necessarily not. I don't think it's worth less than 80, personally.
Yeah, but it's not, and because the market's just told Stefan that it's not, because it's an open market. There's full visibility. They can rank from lowest to highest. They can look at his car, look at the Ks he's done, measure it up, and go, "Do I want to buy this car today?" And clearly, for the last few weeks, they haven't. So,
the last few weeks has come with rate rises, with
and guess what? There's going to be another one next month, and there's going to be another one the month after. Every first Tuesday of the month, there's going to be an interest rate rise of 0.25%. So pick your poison. Do you want to pick the bottom of the market? Do you want to pick, we're not probably at the bottom of the market yet, but you'd hate to sell it at the bottom with hindsight.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like Ian said, yes, the market's transparent, but the market changes every day. So tomorrow could be it. But yeah, as Harold has said, the headwinds are towards the prices being lower because of higher interest rates.
But anyway, it seems you think that it's already pretty low on the price range at the moment. Yeah, so it might not take too much more to. Anyway, thank you guys for your advice. Okay. Very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
And good luck with it, Stefan. Like I said, it's never pleasant selling a car. I'm going to be in the process of selling a couple of cars very shortly. And I'm going to probably do what Nigel did, which is not take the first low offer and maybe not take the second lower offer and maybe take the third one because I'm stupid, because that's what humans do. They hold on to losses and anyway. But yeah, good luck with it in any case.
Peter McMullen just posted in the chat. He went to ChatGPT and said, "Write an ad
for a Tesla performance car." So there's your great ad from ChatGPT, in case it's of any use to you.
Okay, so the ad goes, "Looking for a car that is not only fast and powerful, but also environmentally friendly and stylish. Look no further than the Tesla performance car. This electric car packs a punch with its incredible acceleration and top speed, making every drive an exhilarating experience. The Tesla performance car can go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just a few seconds, providing an unbeatable driving experience. Plus, with a range of over, is that 500 kilometers? 300 miles on a single charge, you won't have to worry about constantly recharging. Not only is the Tesla performance car powerful, but it's also eco-friendly. This car produces 0 emissions, meaning that you can feel good without without contributing to air pollution. With a sleek and modern design, the Tesla performance car is sure to turn heads wherever you go. The interior, the interior is just as impressive as the exterior, with luxurious features and advanced technology. The car's infotainment system is easy to use and comes with a wide range of features to keep you connected and entertained. Plus, the car's safety features are second to none, with advanced systems to keep you and your passengers safe on the road. Invest, that's a very good term, invest in the Tesla performance car and experience the ultimate in luxury, power and sustainability. Don't settle for a regular car when you can have the best of all worlds with the Tesla performance car." God, and I reckon I'd pay 100 grand for that. Come on.
Just a minute. I'm not so good with all this technology stuff. What is it called?
GPT. That's another can of
this new AI
website.
Someone just
Okay,
copy it into a Word document and chuck it in the link for him.
Yeah, look, my son is very good at this sort of stuff.
Send it to
I'll keep
Stefan,
him
then he
on.
can
Yeah,
just
can
do
someone?
that for
Yeah,
you,
can
right?
someone? Yeah, can someone please just chuck it in
Yeah,
a
I'll do that.
Google thing or something? Yeah, awesome. Thanks, thanks, Peter.
It,
And then
Um,
that way, Stefan could just change his ad tomorrow and sell it the next day.
So it's already there for Stefan. It's for
Oh,
everyone.
it's already there for Stefan.
it's in the chat.
It's in the
yes.
chat, Stefan.
Is it? Oh, God.
Yeah, that ad. Grab it.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
down
do
here-
a
That's well. I mean,
Okay.
holy
Stefan, if
shit!
you-
How well written was that?
Stefan, if you
I
don't know
use
how to-
ChatGPT to write things as well, and it's bloody good. I failed English at high school.
Okay.
if you don't
I've been
know how to copy and paste it, so just try and copy and paste it into a Word document or into another word processor but if you don't know how to do that, just put your email address, just make sure it's spelled correctly in the chat, and one of the guys will email you the
yeah,
text.
Peter McMullen will email it to you, Stefan. So it'll all be good.
Okay. Well, you've got my email address, haven't you?
No, you
Can
just-
type in the email address and I'll send it.
Oh, where do I do that?
No,
Actually, hang on. I'll tell you what we'll do, Stefan. We'll go old school. Alrighty.
Well,
So
really.
now
I
we're
just
selling
thought of
cars.
Another question.
Yes, Stefan.
You know that they update the software all the time, and you used to be able to go to settings for the audio system, where you could change around, where I can't find that anymore. Is it gone or where is it?
So it's in your media controls.
So if you turn a media source on, and if you look at the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you can actually get the media source. There's a little note symbol, like a treble, not a treble clef. What's it called? A 1/8 note, whatever. If you
Yeah.
click on it, you'll see the radio or whatever it is in the lower right-hand corner.
No,
If you just tap on it, you should see the settings are like the 3 equalizer bars. It's little
yeah, there's
icon.
all sorts of settings. There.
And if you just click on those 3 equalizer bar icon, then that'll bring up your settings for equalizer, sources, all that sort of stuff. So it'll be in the little corner of when you're playing something or something's active as audio.
When music is playing, when some radio
Yes.
station is playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The right bottom.
Right-hand corner, yeah.
Okay.
But you're right, Stefan, it's been a bit frustrating. I actually incidentally had a problem. I wanted to look at a dash cam footage because normally when you get in the car and you've had a Sentry event, it'll say there are 3 Sentry events, and you just tap on that notification and up comes your Sentry Cam player.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I couldn't work out how to get Sentry Cam player just by itself until I realised it's actually in the bottom middle bar where you tick the little 3 dots, and then it pops up as all of the different possibilities, one of them being dash cam or footage.
Dash cam, yeah.
So sometimes some of these settings can be a bit hard to get to sometimes.
Because they change them all the time. Well, they do all the time.
And we just got another update.
Yeah,
Yes, we
exactly.
did.
I don't know what
Yes.
it is yet. It's happening tonight.
And Leonie got something that I didn't. So what did she get? Oh,
That's
she got
just-
steering wheel heater, and I didn't. So
Automatic
it's
steering
just-
wheel heater. Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's
As
pretty
if
awesome
we
in
need
summer.
that in Australia.
What are they?
Well, you
heating
do for your arthritis fingers in winter.
Are they heating the steering wheel now?
Oh, Stefan, they've got
Yeah.
all the mod cons. That's why you need to
Yep.
look forward to your Model 3 and get rid of your old Model. Look
Get
forward to your
Y.
Model Y and get rid of your old Model 3 because the Model Y's got automatic steering heater.
Chris Harrison's trying to.
Sorry, just talking about the dash cam. I got a question that it says that the dash cam is running, I assume all the time when you're driving, and you're supposed to blow the horn or something to take a recording of something if there's an incident in front, someone cuts you off or there's an accident or whatever. Is that right? And then the other thing is that by the time the accident happens, you press the horn, you might have missed the event, and then some guy will come and bash you for tooting.
No, you won't because now the first thing you need to do is make sure under the safety setting that you
set to save on honk.
Yes, and in fact, if we just, I'll just go back to, if you've got your screen here and you go into you press on the right-hand icon where your little car
Yeah.
is, and then you press on safety, you'll see dash cam, and you can set it to auto and on honk. So
Yeah.
if you have it on honk, then
Yeah.
what you can do is, if you toot the horn for whatever reason, it will record that. But what it actually does is it saves what it was recording for the last,
10
it
minutes.
depends, but up to a few minutes either
Okay.
side.
Okay.
So the other thing you can do too is you can also, while you're driving, press the
Camera?
camera. No, it's it's a
Icon.
Sentry icon, and do it that way. But I think to do that you have to hit the.
You just tap it. You
have
can
to-
put it in your. You can put it as your. See how you've got the Sentry thing as your quick thing. You
Yes.
can actually put the dash cam one as one of the quick ones.
Well, if you
Okay.
actually, if you're driving
And then
and you hit this menu button,
Yeah, and then
it will
finding
come
the
up.
record.
It'll be there recording, and if you just tap that,
That's
that
a bit
will
harder
then-
than.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are
The
a
other
few
thing-
ways.
The other thing you can do is press the right button on the steering wheel, and it'll
Yeah.
come up. Then you just say save dash cam,
Okay.
Oh,
or
yeah, voice command.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if
When
the
it's on.
emergency brakes are
Yeah.
activated,
Yeah.
it'll automatically do a dash cam as well.
Fantastic.
So, yeah,
And
the
if
other
your
day I was
car's
cut
hit
off.
or you hit another car, it saves it, and it
Yeah.
saves up to about 8 or 9 minutes before the event, and
Yeah.
then the event, and another minute or so after.
Fantastic. And what about this? I'm always concerned that people get annoyed when the honk goes. Is it a real honk or is it just
yep,
like,
it's loud. No,
It's
it's
loud, is
loud.
it?
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
No worries.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Anyone else got any other questions or comments?
Um,
Have we got any new people?
Yes, anyone new that wants to say hello that hasn't done so yet, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Michael.
I'm just, I've been away for a couple of months. I was just wondering about the Synergy charging at home. You know, the new Synergy.
Synergy EV tariff.
Yeah. Are most people using the from 9 till 3 during the day?
I'm just bringing it up on the screen in a moment. The biggest issue with the EV tariff at the moment is it has to be attached to the is it the daytime saver tariff? It's a midday saver. Okay, so if we look at, these are the plans here. So this is the standard A1 tariff. So that's at a cost of 30 cents per kilowatt hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unlimited. Right, so that's the standard A1 tariff that we all get by default. There is now an option for a midday saver, but you've got to be really careful because you can see that in the super off-peak time, you've got 8 cents per unit. Now, bearing in mind that super off-peak is between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m, because it's the classic time when there's basically the most amount of solar power available. Then you've got the off-peak, which is basically from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So that's the overnight rate, which is 22 cents per unit. The sting in the tail is the peak supply charge, which is between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. and that's 50 cents per unit, right? So look, a lot of people, if you just had a standard house with, even without, well, say with solar, but no battery storage, unless you're super careful with how you use your house between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. And of course, a lot of things you just have to turn on, such as cooking utensils, air conditioning in summer in the afternoon when you've gotten home perhaps, and a few other things, lights. you're going to be paying 50 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, if you've got an EV, of course, that's a totally different picture. The 8 cents during the daytime is quite cheap to run your EV. Now, what Synergy does with the electric vehicle add-on is on the presumption that you have the midday saver, which like I said is without battery storage, it's questionable how much benefit you can truly get out of this, unless you radically modify your lifestyle. When you add the add-on, what it does is it basically, the overnight charge is a bit cheaper. It's 18 cents per unit instead of 22 cents. So that's really the only bit that you're, and that's between
11 p.m. and 6 a.m.
11 p.m. to 6
oh, sorry,
a.m.
thanks. Yes, great, thanks. So really, previously, the previous example of the EV tariff was just on the A1 tariff, and that was a no-brainer because it never cost you more for electricity, and overnight it cost you a little bit less, so that was a no-brainer. Now, let's just put it this way: if you are on the midday saver and you thought that was a good deal, then obviously it's a no-brainer to go on to the EV tariff edition, because again, there's a part of the night that's cheaper regardless. But I don't know that it'd be a great idea to go from the A1 tariff straight to the midday saver / EV tariff, because if you ran a ruler on that, you might end up paying more money, perhaps, or unless you drive your car a lot and you can take advantage of the lower tariff.
Okay. I don't drive my car a lot, but we have solar and a battery. And the battery,
in which case, look,
battery gets us through all night. So I plug the car in at 9 o'clock until about 3 o'clock, about midday. And then I let the solar charge the battery from midday till stops charging about 5:36. But I'll get up to 100%.
So if in that case you effectively never really use Synergy's power at all, then it probably doesn't matter what tariff you're on, really, because if your battery is getting you throughout the night and also during the day,
well
then,
it doesn't get me through the day because it's charging through the day.
Yep.
But I use between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. They're 8 cents tariff to charge my car. Yeah.
Oh, so you are on the midday saver. Oh, okay, yes. Okay. Well, in that case, it's a no-brainer. If you're already on that tariff, then to use the EV add-on is literally a no-brainer, and it will save you money regardless of whether you use it or not, because overnight you'll get that slight discount of what the otherwise would have been. So yeah, in your case, Michael, yeah, absolutely. If you've already got it, slap on the add-on. Absolutely.
Okay, so you get the 9 to 3 at the 8 cents, and then you get is it 11 p.m. to 6 or 4 or 5 a.m. You get it cheaper at 18 cent or 20 cent.
You get the overnight from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. You get
18 cents.
18 cents. So that's it here. So 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay,
that's the overnight rate.
Okay, so from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
8 cents, like you already have. That's
for your whole house. That's for your whole house.
Yeah, there is no distinction.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay.
But Michael, you've already got the midday saver. So like I said, to put on the EV tariff add-on is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay. I have. Thank you.
No worries.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Ant.
So with full self-driving, and this is for people who've got full self-driving and I know who've had it for a while, I used to, while navigating, put full self-driving on, double tap on the drive shaft, and a solid blue line would appear on the front of the car on the dash on the screen. Now it's two thin blue lines on either side. This seemed to change, although I don't use FSD that much. It seemed to change around the time everybody got a kind of a trial month of EAP. Am I right in assuming something has changed?
You've got to turn it back on, Ant. You might find that if you look in the settings under Autopilot, that navigate on Autopilot, that switch is turned off. So the single blue line is the indicator of navigate on Autopilot. The double blue lines either side of the lane markings is Autopilot.
Okay.
So when the trial stopped, perhaps your car inadvertently got its software switch. Its screen switch turned off. So
I've
if you
still
go
got the single line on mine.
Okay,
you will, because Ant, did you get FSD in your car?
Yeah, it's got FSD.
So just need to turn it back on.
Okay, I'll go try that out now.
And of course it will only activate when you're on one of the fenced roads like the freeway or Tonkin Highway. I always love when I'm driving north on Forest Highway, you come over that overpass and then suddenly you switch to nav on Autopilot because it says, oh, I'm over the geofence, and you go from twin lines to a single line.
Yeah, what I did notice is that it wasn't appearing on the roads that I'd previously been able to do nav on Autopilot. And
it's
and
probably just turned it off. Yeah.
Yeah. On the recent trip to Esperance that I did, it didn't appear anywhere, not a single place on the way. Although that, I have to say, that trip is quite jarring in the sense that the roadworks all over the place do tend to mess with any kind of autopilot.
Yeah,
The
you're not
signs,
going to get the single blue line once you get out onto the Albany Highway and heading down that way. It just won't happen. It's on
nowhere in the
freeways
southwest.
and Tonkin, only in places.
Yeah.
But once you get to southwest, you will not see it.
And since you mentioned your road trip to Esperance, we'll just have a look where that is. And I noticed that there's a spanner for a James Street car park coming soon.
Yes,
this is actually a Horizon Power project for the WA EV network. And since Sandra will be coming on shortly, I believe these are photos you took, Ant.
Yes, so I literally stumbled across that. We stopped for some fish and chips. And I looked over the road and I went, hang on. Oh right, there's an orange pin with a construction icon on it. What's that machine? And there's a ditch witch digging along. And the next day it had moved, and there'd been some more digging. And then I think somebody else, possibly Connor or someone else, took that picture of the transformer or charging transformers on the other side of the car park. So yeah, looking forward to having that in Esperance, because that'll kind of complete the link. Although a few more high power chargers along the way would be great.
Harold,
absolutely. And in fact, I'm just going to I was just going to say, and that's a perfect segue. Sandra, if you'd like to, I've got you there. Awesome. Yeah. So just like to introduce Sandra Giri. She is actually officially the discovery and design practitioner at Synergy. I personally think that she's one of the most important members of the WA EV network team that's delivering this awesome project. And it's probably timely to get straight into.
Can you make sure you say that to my managers, please?
Yes, that's right.
Give us their email addresses and we'll each send them one.
That's exactly right. But Sandra really is an awesome part of that whole project, and really, if it wasn't for her monumentous efforts, the project would be much lesser than it's going to be. Trust me. So what I'll do is I'll just bring up this, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Sandra.
Yes, thanks. So yeah, I'm working for Synergy since 2017, and I knew nothing about EV, so it's really thanks to most of you guys that are online here that I managed to make, like, if I know something on EV, I don't, but I just know who to contact when I need to answer a question. So I really appreciate the support here of Rob, Harold, Chris, Anton, just to say a few of you. And yeah, this project is very important. I really want it to work. It's a government project, so obviously we have some constraints, as you can imagine, but doesn't mean that we can't make it work. And so yeah, thanks to the input of 4 of the experts that are 4 of you guys, we really managed with the same amount of money, same amount of time, really to optimize, I guess, what has been given to us. So I thought I will take the opportunity to give you a bit of an update, since we haven't talked and see each other for quite a while, and with Christmas and so on. If you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. And I apologize for those of you who were at the AVA meeting last night, because it's exactly the same presentation, so it will be boring for those of you who were online yesterday. So do you mind to move to the next? Sorry, you will be my assistant there. Thanks, Harold. So you all know the background, so I'm not going to come back too much. And if you don't and you have more questions, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you later. But more or less, this project is covering about 49 locations all the way north from Kununurra to Esperance and South Australia. Each time the 49 locations will have 2 chargers and at least 1 DC charger in each location. The minister really wanted the chargers to be maximum 200 kilometers apart, or like more or less, to, I guess, battle the range anxiety, which is less of an issue now, but back 2 or 3 years ago, even range anxiety was a massive thing. It's a project that is delivered by Synergy and Horizon Power, and you can see on the right-hand side, this is the 22 sites that Synergy is in charge of, as we operate only in the Swiss. So key milestone on this project, we had a chat on this, but yeah, the award had been given to JetCharge for providing the hardware, not to install the hardware, to provide the hardware. We have ChargeFox as a charge point operator. So you all know ChargeFox, I'm not gonna get on this one. We have now a name, finally, 2 years on. We are called WAEV Network. So you will now refer not anymore to EV Highway, because it's forbidden to use the word highway. That has been already registered. But the good news that we are all waiting for is that construction has commenced. I'm sure some of you have seen on social media some pictures of a few sites, and Geraldton and Northampton are really our 2 first sites. So we have started the civil works back in early December, I think. We have been through a lot of learning curves, and we are hoping to have Geraldton and Northampton operational early March. Any questions so far?
Oh, I'm muted.
Yeah,
No,
go, Jared.
Jared.
Oh, I was just saying, merci, au revoir. But questions, that's good.
You want I do the whole presentation in French, or you're right?
Oh yes,
Oh,
yeah,
please,
absolutely.
No subtitles required.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to the preso. So there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, like often I feel like often when I talk with people and I get some comments as well when I read on social media and so on, it's quite itchy for me to not end sometimes. And it's like, why it's still not operational, why we can still see anything. They are working on it for at least nearly 2 years and we still can't see any chargers. Well, installing the charger is probably the easiest part. I guess it's the cherry on the cake, but to make the cake, it takes so long. First of all, the biggest constraint is because it's a government state initiative. We have to stay on government land. And so it requires already to find a suitable site. So suitable site means yes, government land, but it means as well close to amenities, a good parking, but not a prime parking, because we don't want to take prime parking for EVs. We don't want to be iced all the time. So there's a lot of constraint that comes to it. So already to choose a suitable site can take quite a long time and a lot of negotiation with the LGA, because the LGA hasn't been really, I guess, they received this package from the minister and they haven't been really consulted before that. So they are like, one day they are called and they're like, yeah, lucky you, you're gonna receive charges and you need to give us some bay and you need to look after some parkings. So like, it's not always easy for small locations like Coolgardie, for example, they are looking for some funding to do the car park. So like, there's a lot of constraint depending on where the site is. Then once we finally have the site, we need to go to Western Power to submit a network application. Then potentially we can have a DA to put in place. We need to sign the license agreement with the LGA. So this can take between, in average, it takes between 6 and 12 months, depending on the LGA, depending on the lawyers, depending on how painful they are. Because it's an initiative that requires like 22 LGAs, we can't do 22 different licenses. And so why we try to be as accepting as possible, we want more or less 95, 98% of the license body to be the same. If not, it will be a nightmare to manage. So it can be very tricky as well, because we can't start to give something to one and not to the other and so on. So license is a very long process. Once we have the license signed, then we need to go back again to Western Power and see with them if they'll be willing to put someone on the design. And this as well can be a very lengthy and painful process. And then that's when the fun starts. That's when once Western Power is giving us the design, we can finally start the civil works. We can finally, like, I guess, dig and really install the charger, and having Western Power putting just the button on, I guess, power the site, and then we can commission the chargers. So you can appreciate, I think we have put this slide during the TOQUA event like 6 months ago or so when we were holding this, but yeah, it's still a very lengthy process. So this year is the last year of the project, as we need to be fully operational by Q1 2024. So more or less we have 10 months and a half to install 44 chargers.
Beautiful.
Yeah, lucky us. So this is the snapshot more or less of where we are at. Apologize, there is the 2-time Northampton. It's Northam and then Northampton. Apologize for that, as that's my Excel that get a bit excited. So that's the four main streams that we just talked about. That's to give you an idea of where we are at with the sites. As per February, so as per last week. So as you can see and appreciate, a lot has been done already, but there's still a lot to do. And the orange ones sometimes can be the ones that are very difficult. Some of them have been like in I guess, negotiation for nearly 2 years, and we are still no close to find a solution. So it can be sometimes very, very painful. Is there any question or concern so far?
Yes, Sandra, where it says NA in those boxes,
Yes.
Is that where development approval is not required?
That's right. That's the LGAs that decide if they require or not a DA. This is not on our behalf, obviously. That's the LGAs that tell us, yes, I want a DA, or no, I don't. And it could be a risk as well for us when they say, no, we don't need it. So each time we make sure that we have the documentation that supports the decision of the LGA, so that, you know, they can't really come back, but it has happened that they still come back to us and actually they should have put a DA into place. So this sometimes can send you back as well. It's really a learning curve for us, you know, like we didn't do in such an extending network before. We have installed like 3 chargers running after each other through trials and so on since 2017, but that's not our core job, right? Like we sell electricity, we are not installing chargers. So we are learning a lot of things along the way, that's for sure. So hopefully it has been very long until now, and even the civil works and so on with Geraldton and Northampton has taken quite a lot of time, but hopefully the more we will go into the project and the more velocity we will get. So that's what we are hoping, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Is there any other questions? Sorry, I can't see you guys. I see only the thing. So please raise your voice if you have anything. Because I can't.
Probably not a bad thing that you can't see us, Sandra.
Yeah, exactly.
Sandra, yeah, just wanted to say really from Ava and from myself that we really appreciate your work on this, and seeing that spreadsheet is fantastic. You know, music to my ears, seeing all of those charges filling up, and we're on the way, and it'll happen. And there's a lot of people who will whinge on social media and say, why aren't things happening, etc. And you know, really patience is required. Knowing how long it takes to put in applications and to get charges going, we do appreciate it immensely. I reckon your role should not be what it is now. I think it should be EV legend.
It's a team effort, like, you know, by yourself, you're nothing. It's collaboration, and that's why it's really great as well that you give me this opportunity, you know, to provide updates. But also I get a lot of feedback from you guys when it was not great, and we push, and sometimes we win, sometimes we didn't, but at least we have done our duty. So I will have no regret at the end of this project, and that's the most important, I guess. You know, we are all trying to do the right thing here. So.
Yeah. I reckon road trip. I reckon at the end of all of this, we should all get everybody on the road and
That's for
EVs
sure.
and travel to Cananara or wherever.
Sandra?
Yes.
Vive la France.
Well, at the moment, I would like to say Vive WA. Like, I think it's really long time due, and we really want this to happen. So, yeah, hopefully we won't be delayed too much, and yeah, we will get the velocity. But we are pushing. That's one thing. It's not perfect, but we are really working hard, and we are pushing as much as we can. But there's a lot of dependencies, and that's the issue as well on the way it's done, particularly on the Swiss. I guess Horizon Power is a bit different because they don't have this dependency. For example, with Western Power, they are vertically integrated. So they have more control over a lot of things. We have a lot of things that are not under our control, and as a project manager, sometimes not having control is quite, you know, difficult. I guess.
What's
yeah.
What's with Hayden? I noticed that on the spreadsheet, it's the obvious, you know, blank line.
Yeah. So, you know, Hayden and Brookton actually were not on the original map. I don't know if you remember, but when the minister gave us the business case, there was no Hayden, there was no Brookton, but there was 4 locations in. Thanks, Harold. There was 4 locations in the metro area. And when we had this chat with like Rob, Harold, Chris, and Thomas Brownell, they were all like, why do we put 4 of them in per city while there is the Arena Fund that just said 2 months later that they were going to put, I think, 35 DC charger in the city or something. So we were like, oh, it's a bit a waste of money to put them there. What about we keep only 1 location in the Perth Metro, which has been selected as Kings Park, and we open the new route of Brookton. So Brookton and Hayden have been endorsed by the minister. So we had to redo a business case and blah, 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 to have it endorsed by the minister. And we started the relationship with Hayden and Brookton, I think back in July or August, maybe. So they are, first of all, they are very late to enter the game, at least 1 year delayed compared to all the other LGAs. So that's what the first reason. And the second reason, it's because in Hayden, we really struggle to find a suitable site. And the reason for that is that, unfortunately, the sites that we really would like are on a lot of different lands and a lot of different landowner. And so sometimes it's DPLH and main roads. and it's very complicated to find the appropriate agreement or to find a site that will be owned by the LGA. So at this stage, we still haven't found a site. We have few options, but none of them are perfect, I guess. So we are trying to find which one will not be too much delayed. Because if we want to change the land, for example, there is a site that we really love, and Rob and Harold have seen it, and they were like, yeah, that's a really good place. It's really nice. But unfortunately, it's on main roads. And so that means that if we want to make it happen there, we need main road and the LGA of Hayden to get together and change the land tenure, which could take 12 to 18 months just to make that. And then Synergy will be able to get into an agreement with Hayden, which could take another 6 to 12 months to develop an license. So it's like, what can we do? So we are still having a look with lawyers and people that are specialized in land titles, and it's not my, obviously it's not my expertise, but trying to get the right people in the room, you know, and see as well with main roads if they can help us, or like how we can fast track things. So trying to reach out to DPLH to see if we can make it happen. So at this stage, I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. We are working, we talk with Hayden every week at the moment. So definitely trying to find, but that's why it's a white line.
Yeah.
And just to highlight that, that's one of the things, that's why this projects like this take time, because mere mortals like us, you know, you go to various places and you see, you know, parking bays across a piece of land, and no one ever really remembers or realizes that perhaps half of that bay is owned by 2 different departments. And of course, while it's just got basic plain white lines across it, no one cares. But if you put some expensive infrastructure on it, you have to care. And that's where it takes time. Scotty, you had your hand up first. So if you can unmute, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just got a question, Sandra, around the plans for support going forward.
Yes.
Are there any service level agreements with vendors for repairs, etc.?
So the operations and maintenance will be external. And I assume that the project manager is currently working on it. I know that we already have spare parts. So we did a list, again, in conjunction with our experts, we did a list of the spare parts that we really want to have in WA. So we have already received the spare parts in WA that are the most, I guess, critical, like the cables and things like that. And the other spare parts will be held at Jet Charge in Victoria.
That's brilliant.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, and we'll go to, I think Chris. Actually, James, you had a hand up as well, but we'll just quickly go to Chris and go round. If you can unmute Chris.
All right, Harold. Yeah. Sandra, I just want to ask you a question, which you may or may not be able to answer. But you're talking about all these lead times and the project problems. Has there been any mention of a stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 implementation of this? Because the number of EVs are growing rapidly. And obviously 1 or 2 chargers scattered around the country, no disrespect, he's not going to cut it within 2 years. So are there any plans? I know it's probably a political question and you probably can't answer, but
I can answer. It's a very simple answer, as much as I would like to have another answer. But the answer is no, there is no phase 2 or phase 3. So I'm officially looking for a job at the end of this year.
Oh dear.
Yes.
So with that in mind, has there been any mention that the work that you guys have done to build the bridges to these different authorities and people who need to make decisions and help along the way, will they still be in place, or will it be another team again starting afresh?
Well, I guess I heard that there is other funding project from minister and even federal, state and so on. I think there is another round of arena funding. I think Walga as well is putting into place several things. government fleet. There is quite a lot of different projects around EV and different funding, but Synergy is selling electricity. They are not really interested in having infrastructure and managing infrastructure. It's not their core business, and it won't become their core business. So in our side, just for Synergy speaking, this is a ministerial state government project. This is not a Synergy project. And at the moment, we haven't heard at all of phase 2 or phase 3, unfortunately. I agree with you, 2 chargers and 2 chargers, we're talking 1 DC, and in most cases, the backup is an AC, right? So I agree with you, it won't be enough. I think the idea of this project from the minister was to create a kind of spine so that private investors start to invest in WA. So is it good enough? Probably not, regarding the number of EVs that are currently and that are coming, but it's a start, because they had to start somewhere.
The issue will be.
Please don't take it as a complaint, Sandra, because we all agree what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The issue will be is in New Zealand in 2021 in January, the proportion of new car sales that were EVs was under 3%, and by Christmas of that year was 11.5%. So a massive 5-fold increase within 12 months. And that happened once the federal government over there removed some of the barriers to EV ownership. The federal government here in Australia is looking at doing something similar. They've already started with some initiatives. It could happen that it's in this year, it could be next year, but we could see similar growth. And when we see that, there'll be lines of people, you know,
it will be queuing, that's for sure. Yeah,
we'll be queuing up at those charges.
But the point of that is, the point of that is that once there is a queue, then business can come in and start making money out of it.
That was my next point. So what will happen is then all of a sudden there'll be private investment interest in putting more charges in. But as we know, Western Power can take 6 to 12 months to do their network design augmentations. And so that's it's going to be very frustrating in the next 1 or 2 years. We've just been, there's been a lot of, I guess, time lost before this project even started, before it even hit Synergy. And that was when Thomas Braun's report was shelved, in the bottom of a drawer somewhere, and it said there for 3 years. That was really crucial time that has been lost, and that we're trying to catch up to now, but you can't rewind the clock. So yeah.
Right, let's go to let's go to Farhad. Yes, you got a question.
Yeah, I'm on the EV home or EV add-on tariff. So I'm used to charging my car at 8 cents per kilowatt hour. And anytime I'm outside the metro area, it's basically electric highway robbery. Just wondering what the charging or the pricing structure looks like, and whether there'll be, a time of use variable charges, or is it just going to be a high charge that costs just as much as a petrol car to fill up?
Let's just take that
Thanks
question.
for the segue. Can you...
Sorry, Sandra. Yeah, let's go through the rest of the presentation, because some of these questions will come will be answered automatically. So we'll go to this. Yeah. So
your answer, Farhad, your answer is going to be answered in three slides. Be patient. So that's just to give you an example of the site layout. So this is examples of what it could look like when it's driving. In most cases, we always looked first if there was opportunity for drive-through. The reason for that is that we wanted to try to make it happen when you have a caravan and you are trying to spoil your weekend. But in some LGAs, it's just not possible to have some drive-through. So if you have a drive-in option, this is what it could look like. So on the left-hand side, most of the sites will be one DC chargers of 150 kilowatt and one AC of 7.6 kilowatts. And you can see in general, it will be 4 bays, with the DC charger being on what we call a universal bay. And the reason for that is to make sure that we can charge any kind of car with the right length of cable, because the way the chargers is put into this universal bay will allow you to park whatever kind of model you have and wherever the port is, as we know that it's all around depending on the model. So that should allow any car to charge easily without to pull on the cable. And it's a Kempower fast charger, so there is a cable management as well, which should be easier to use. And you can see the little man or woman, I'm not sure, in green that is just next to the fast charger. It's in front of what we call the paymate, which is a kind of a pole that would just allow you to pay with credit card for the fast charger and the slow charger. And you have as well some opportunity here to have the drive-through. For example, the right inside one will be the configuration for Kuladi, where we are going to have a drive-through with 4 bays in a square kind of things configuration with 1 DC and 1 AC. And you can have as well some drive-through, like in Brookton, for example, it will be aligned of like 4 bays lined on the side like this. And once again, each time you will have 3 pieces of hardware every time. Sorry, Harold.
Sandra, can you please just repeat that initial location, because you just came out garbled just for a moment. Where's this location like? Sorry.
So the right one will be Coolgardie, and the left one will be Brookton. That's just an example. There is some others, but yeah, that's the ones I manage, so I remember quite easily.
Sandra, at least out of the Swiss Synergy sites, are you able to, would you know a number of which sites are drive-through?
Well, that's a good question. No, but I can come back with specific numbers, because I will probably miss 1 or 2, because the sites are divided between 3 of us. Yeah. So I'm in charge of 11 sites, but I don't want to say something. I think I got the number in head, but I prefer to come back to you tomorrow, if you don't mind, to make sure that I give you the right answer.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks. So this is also an example. So Geraldton has the box in place. It's not operational yet, but the civil works have been done. So that's to show you what a typical site would look like. Obviously, this one has 2 times 150 kilowatt. It will be the same in Albany, for example. And it's, once again, you have in the middle what we call the universal bay. The universal bay, it's also to allow people with disability to have more space to get in and out of their car. So that's that. You know, they haven't developed really standard yet for disabled people around EV charging, but that's something that we had in mind as well when we were designing the car bays and so on. So it's not perfect, but you can see as well that the curb will be lowered so that they can access the paymate easily and things like that. So that was the idea. That's why when you have 2 fast chargers, in general, we are trying to have 5 bays.
So Sandra, just quickly, with the paymate, if it is down, will it default to free vend, or will there be some other arrangement?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I will assume, because we have to make it, we have to ensure that it's working 98% of the time. The charging in the business case, it has to be 98% of the time working. So I will assume that if there is no reception and so on, I'm pretty sure that if there is no reception and so on, you will be charged later. You can still charge your car, and so, like, you know, they are putting into place some things, some comms and so on, like it's technical. I'm not on the technical side, but they are putting things into place so that you can still charge your car even though there is no reception.
Yeah, so payments will buffer until a connection is reestablished. Yep.
Yes, that's my understanding, yes.
Sandra, I've got a question about security. Are they're looking at putting cameras on the sites to protect them, just like they do?
Yeah, some of the LGAs. So that's, when we have a look at what site we choose, that's also something that we took into consideration. Is there enough light so that a single woman with kids will feel safe enough to charge at night? So lights on CCTV were something that we were looking at if there was already existing one. However, this is to the discretion of the LGA.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So if the LGA wants to add some CCTV, or if we could find a site with existing CCTVs, then that's what we did. But doesn't mean that there will be CCTV. I think there will be CCTV on all the Horizon Power ones, though.
Okay, cool. That's good.
Yeah, but not on the Synergy ones. Not all of them. It depends on what the LGA can afford, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the 3 pieces of hardware that you will have at every site. So as I say, some sites will have the DC and the AC. Some sites will have 2 DC chargers, but all of the sites will have at least 1 DC. Every site will have 2 chargers, and every site will have the paymate facility.
And they're all CCS2 and Type 2.
And they're all CCS2. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, definitely. So 2 hoses, you can charge 2 cars at once. And both CCS2, you need to bring your own cable for the charge mate, 7.6 kilowatt AC charger, as per usual. And is 75 kilowatts.
Hey, Sandra, you just went out of range for a second. Can you please just repeat that last sentence?
Sorry, my connection is so bad. I was saying that the DC charger will be most of the time 150 kilowatts and sometimes 75 kilowatts.
Cool. That's great.
So how do you pay? As usual, RFID or the ChargeFox app. And now you have also the credit card facility. And this is how much it will cost you. So that was the question that you asked just before. So AC charger will cost you 35 cents per kilowatt, and the DC charger will cost you 60 cents per kilowatt.
Can I just say, I understand Farhad's concerns, but I think the pricing is absolutely spot on. It's not too high, it's not too low. It is, I would say it's optimal because at 35 cents, it means it's fractionally above the A1 tariff, so just enough to prevent locals from camping there for the whole day. And the 60 cents, yeah, that means that it will only be used when it needs to be used. So it will reduce any queues, etc. So I think the pricing is absolutely spot on. And Farhad, yes, it might cost you more to charge when you're on those long road trips, but it will definitely cost you a lot less than fuel. The one mistake that people make is they're comparing the 60-cent charge rate in the middle of nowhere to gas prices or petrol prices in the city. What you got to realize is that you got to compare it to petrol prices in that location. And you look at petrol prices and some of it, in the middle of the Nullarbor, they'll be $3 plus. So
Who's on, Pete?
And are you going to have idle fees once people have finished charging and they've parked there for the next 4 hours?
Good question, Nigel.
Yeah, I was going to
I didn't ask that, it popped up in chat.
That's a $1 million question. Everyone is asking it. I love it. As you know, ChargeFox doesn't do push notification, neither do they do idle fee. However, thanks to the input of some of you and ourselves, ChargeFox has put in the contract that they have to provide idle fee and push notification in the next 2 years. So they are developing it for us.
Oh, great.
Hooray.
Thank you.
Great news.
Well done.
Yeah.
And just to highlight the cost there, you're looking at, say, for a Model Y, 50 kilowatt hours from flat to full does 400 kilometres. At 60 cents per kilowatt hour, that's $30 for a whole charge, a complete charge, and that gets you 400
kilowatt hour battery.
Oh, well, you know, usable, whatever, roughly. That's about $8 per 100 kilometres. You compare that to a petrol car, and you've got to get a car that's got some pretty astounding efficiency when petrol prices are north of $1.50 a litre. And Fahad and others that think that, you know, why should we be paying 60 cents per kilowatt hour? Trust me, when you're on the Nullarbor in the middle of nowhere, and you've got a choice between paying 60 cents per kilowatt hour and moving off in 20 minutes, or sitting there for 3 hours, I'd pay $2 a kilowatt hour for that sort of level of service. And you've got to bear in mind, these machines cost dozens upon dozens upon dozens of thousands of dollars, and they need maintenance, and they've got to recover costs somehow.
And the connection is where the main cost is, not just in the charges. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, this project, once again, they are not going to recover cost, right? Like,
No.
let's be honest, they know it, but they want to recover the operations and maintenance cost, the running cost.
That's good.
The investment will never be reimbursed, right? Like, we know that. But yeah, and the idea, like, obviously, because we are GT, this price has been done with EPA as well. So like the energy policy of WA and like other government bodies and things like that. So this as well took a lot of back and forth and things like that. But the idea for this price, and that's where I join you, Pete, is the idea is just to make sure that we are competitive, because we don't want to kill the market. And that's why, Ant, when you put in the social media, are we going to have a free period at start and so on? No, we are not. Like, it's not happening, because we don't want to give the wrong idea. We don't want to kill the private investors' business. We want to be competitive. We want to make sure. So this price will be reviewed every year to make sure that we keep it competitive.
Fantastic. Glad to hear it.
And I think it's important also for locations like Albany where Tesla are going to co-locate. You don't want to have this disparate pricing between the supercharger and this charger, where people are going to go, oh, I'm not going to charge at the supercharger because it's, you know, 10 cents more or blah blah blah. You have to be in the same market.
That's right. And we talk with Tesla very often, because people often tell us, but why do you let Tesla next to you and so on? But we are very keen to share and have a EV hub in Albany, in Lenslin, and there's more to come. And they always wait that we do the network augmentation application so that we pay for them. Thank you very much. But they have the map. We don't have their map. So, you know, it's fair game. It's just what it is. But we talk with them regularly, and we try to make it as less disrupting as possible. If we can do the work at the same time, then glad, that would be great. If we can't, then we won't, like, you know, put our project on the side waiting that Tesla has finished their license agreement and shit. Like, no way. But like, you know, yeah, we try to work together. Once again, what at the end, you know, we just want a good experience for the customer as well. We don't see private investors as competitors, because once again, this state government initiative is to create a spine. We want private investors to put more charges so that there's less queuing. So it's just an initial investment so that there is more coming, right? So the more charges, the better. So Tesla or RSE, whoever wants to put chargers, just do it. You know, we have no issue with that.
Righty, and then the last part.
Yeah, so engagement, what is it that we do, you know, because it's great to do the project, but if you don't engage with you, for example, with the EV community, you know, like, you might develop a product that is useless. So we have a strong engagement with EV communities, like through the AVA, TOQA, but also the EV Council. And we try to be there and supportive where we can, like the iDrive or Electricana, EV World Day, the EV Expo that will happen in WA at the end of this year. And as I said before, because we are working with the LGAs, we are trying to create like a win-win relationship and a trusting relationship with the LGAs. So it's a continuous engagement. To give you an idea, so I'm in charge of 11 of the LGAs, and I call them, each of them, every 2 weeks. So I spend 30 minutes to 1 hour with each of them every 2 weeks for the last 2 years nearly. So that's allow us to have a really trusting relationship and to collaborate together. It's not like this is what we give you and deal with it. For example, Coolgardie was looking for funding for the car park. It's not our scope of work, but we are trying to leverage the people we know in Walga to see if we can find another funding and how they can access it. And, you know, so it's all about collaboration. And that's why when Harold and Ant was saying, oh, it's a united team effort, like it's all these people that gives a hand when they can, that makes it work. And this engagement is very, very important. And obviously we are a state government initiative, so we have the media and the minister engagement as well. There's
And I think we've got our last. Oh, sorry. Yep. So Fahad, you've got your hand up again, I think, or is that your original hand? I'm not sure.
No, that's a new one. Another question regarding the Type 2 cable. Why wouldn't you have a Type 2 cable fixed to the charger rather than expect every driver or every car to fork out the cost of having their own? I know it's a bit of a convention that that's what happens, but you know, you don't ask people to bring their own petrol hose. Why are we still figuring that people should bring their own charging cable for AC?
Can I jump in here, Fahad? There's one simple answer, and it starts with the letter V, and that's called vandalism. So there is nothing easier than getting a charge cable, swinging the head of that charge cable like a cat and smashing it on the ground. Now, obviously, on a fast DC charger, by necessity, you can't. They just don't really have practical, portable fast DC charger cables. But the Type 2 cable, in Europe, it's ubiquitous. Tesla is actually the exception, in that on their destination chargers they have cables. And also, by the way, since we're talking about Tesla destination chargers, they are infamous for having faults in their cable because they get a lot of use and a lot of abuse, and it's far safer, bearing in mind that the AC charger is primarily there as a backup for the DC charger. The most important thing is to try and have that vandalized as little as possible, and the less accoutrement you put on a charger, the less scope there is for vandalism. And it's as simple as that. And to be perfectly honest, if you've bought yourself if I was to say to you, Fahad, that there's free charging at Woolworths in Mount Pleasant, and all you need to do is bring a cable, you'll be breaking your neck to buy a $300 cable to get a few kilowatt hours of free electricity. That's just what humans do. But it's just a necessary thing, basically because of vandalism.
Fahad, I really like your analogy with petrol stations. That's what I always say. You know, you can drive through a petrol station, you don't have to reverse in. So, you know, where possible, chargers should be drive-through. You know, you come to a petrol station, there's usually a dozen Bowsers. So if one or two aren't operational, you know, there's at least another 8 that you can use. You know, the analogies go, the reason where this doesn't quite work is the difference is that most petrol stations are manned, hence the vandalism is much lower, whereas the chargers are unmanned, hence the propensity for vandalism is much higher. And the second reason would be the cost. So the 20 million that's going towards the charging infrastructure, really for a state government, let's be honest, it's an absolute drop in the ocean. It's, you know, for $20 million, that's the cost of one on-ramp onto a freeway. It's what the Wanneroo and the Joondalup councils spend on landscaping every year. And that's just one council in Perth, and that's what they spend on just landscaping for just 1 year. And we're talking about these chargers, you know, providing a network of EV charging for the whole EV community, hopefully for the next decade. So, yeah, it's just a drop in the ocean what Synergy and Horizon have been given.
And just to highlight, you can see that image here. This is in the RAC charger in Margaret River. Both of those plugs, in about 15 seconds, were swung like cats and smashed into the ground, and each of them only costs $1,500 each to replace. So that's the stakes that, you know, that's why the Type 2s are what they are.
There are other questions?
Oh,
Concerns?
so Sandra, I've got the last page if you like.
I can't remember which one it is.
Yep. So
I'm glad you do.
so we've got that one, and then what's really
Yeah,
exciting
so on
is this
that
next.
one, I just want to finish on this one, if you don't mind. Before we start civil works as well, we are trying to go to every location just to do a bit of local community engagement and go see the business that are in close proximity to the site to make sure that they have been aware of the project, that they know what it's gonna mean for them, but also like if they know that there will be potentially some outage or this or that, whatever it is. So we don't leave it only to the LGA. In general, we go to every location. And so this picture, you probably recognize Harold's car. So he get down to Walpole to support Synergy. They went to the fortnight market in Walpole, and just having a chat. So we put a bit of a map, and we just talk about the project to the local population. And Harold was able to talk about what is an EV and answer all the questions that are surrounding the project, because obviously there's a lot of EV education to do as well. And we didn't get the funding for the education, Pete, as you say, that it's a small budget for what we need to do already. So we can't put everything in the scope of work, but that's why the collaboration there as well is very, very important. So if any of you is willing to give a hand, you're more than welcome as well to reach out to me. We are always looking for people in all these locations, for when we will go there to commission it, to try the chargers, to give some feedback, to talk to the local community, to let them know how happy we are as the EV community, that they are taking some chargers there. Like, any kind of help and support that we can get from you as well is more than welcome. So that's what we are going to try to do. So next week, for example, we are going to Lanslin and Joyan Bay to talk about the local businesses as well, to make sure that they are aware. We think they are all aware because each time it goes through council meeting and blah, 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 but I don't go to council meeting. I have no idea what's going on in my place personally. So like, I would much prefer someone that comes and talk to me directly. So that's what we are doing as well there. So what's next? So next sites will be Manjimup, Albany, Walpole, and Williams. In which order, I have no idea. It will so much depend on how the civil works is working, how Western Power is organizing, but that will be these 4 that we are working on in terms of civil work. And it's starting at the end of Feb. So yeah, it's very exciting. And this is the resources. So this is, all the media statements so far that has been on the project and things like that, and all the EV strategy from the government and things like that, in case you want to have a bit more of background information. I think that's it. Thank you. If there is any other question or
on each of the sites, I see you had, I think, white paint with EV charger or something written on the bitumen. I assume you need something that's very prominent. Will there be signs as well so that people don't just randomly park there, because it invariably happens a lot?
Yes. So you're right. Ideally, we wanted to write EV charging only or things like that. Once again, because the car bays are not ours, it's up to the LGA to do whatever they feel like. For example, Albany has been very, very proactive, and they have changed the law. So now the rangers are able to fine people if they are parking in an EV place, even though they are not EV, but also if they are an EV and they are not charging. So that's really good. Not all the LGAs are that proactive so far, but you need to start somewhere. So it's great and give them the credit where they need it. But and for the road signage, it's not Synergy either. The road signage is up to the LGA. However, we have provided them a standard because Main Roads and Australian Roads have provided a standard now for EV signage and road signage. And this is why as well, it's not really a branded, if you don't mind, Harold, to put back the Geraldton one for a sec. As you can see, it's not really a branded thing. We could have put a branding Synergy or WAEV network or whatever and paint the whole bay or whatever. But we decided to make it more standard as well. And so this is the logo that has been provided by Australian Roads as well, particularly for the sites where we're going to collocate with Tesla and so on. We just want to make an EV hub. I don't think the customer really cares about who is providing the electricity. They just want to be able to charge their car. So the idea here was to try to be as future-proof as possible so that, if anything, it's easy to repaint the logo and so on. So hopefully the LGA will put some road signage, but this is not in our scope of work.
I don't see the problem so much in the small country towns. They're generally good and pretty aware of what they can do and what they can't. It's the bigger towns and that are generally the problem. But no, I think if that's well labelled, it's pretty clear and should be quite obvious. I think that's good.
I hope so. I hope people, like the charger is pretty big as well, to be honest with you. And on Geraldton, because it's a fast charge, it's 2 fast chargers. So they are on the curb, but most of the configuration, it will be 1 fast charger and 1 slow charger. So on the universal bay, you will have the charger, the fast charger. So it's pretty big, and it's written in big on it, fast charger. So you can't really not know what it is. You know what I mean? You can't, even if you know nothing about EV, you will see that it's electric vehicle fast charger written in massive on the charger itself. So hopefully it will bring as well some education. I'm hoping that LGAs are gonna pass some laws and move on this and put some road signage. But once again, there's so much we can do. We give them recommendation and then it's up to them to do whatever they can also, because they don't get any budget for that.
Can the state government not make the legislation for these parking bays? Why can't they?
Yes, they can, if they want to.
Exactly. So get the government to do it, and then the LGAs will have to enforce it.
Yeah.
So we should all hassle our local members and that stuff. That's the whole
Yes,
point.
we should.
Yeah.
That's the point. You go see them and hassle them every week until it gets done. Because
a lot of LGAs are not very proactive. In fact, they're probably closer to a handbrake than anything. But does your position as acting for the state government give you the sway to convince some of them to cooperate with you? Because some are far from cooperative.
To be honest with you, and I'm just gonna talk for my own experience, and it's not Synergy point of view or my colleague. I'm just talking about the experience I got for the last 2 years working with them. Out of the 11 LGAs that I have, to be honest, now none of them, there's one that is pain in the ass, but all the others are really on board.
That's good.
And at start they could be a bit cold. Let's put it this way, but I kind of understood where they were coming from, because once again, the government said to them, hey, you're on the map, lucky winner, but I'm not giving you any funding to do anything around it. You're just going to get the charges and you need to find the money to do the car park or this or the road signage or blah, blah, blah. And, and they don't know EV. A lot of them were quite unaware of what is an EV, what is it that you're going to put in my town, what are the risks, what are the fire risks, what is the environmental risk, they knew nothing about it. So I guess it was up to us as well to explain them, go see them, reassure them, and it was a big piece of education to start with. With each of them, I have spent a lot of time making some PowerPoint presentation, getting to see them in face-to-face, and really explaining them that I'm going to accompany them along the way. It's not going to be just this is it, and you deal with it, you know. So as I say, I'm contacting them every 2 weeks. So they feel nurtured a little bit, you know. And so I think in this regard, they get excited quite soon. As soon as they understood what we were trying to do, I think most of them were already on board. And they're doing their best, like some little LGAs. Like I feel sorry for them because they have no funding, no nothing, and they are really trying hard to find things, you know, to make it happen. Because like Coolgardie wants to do the EV hub like it's a Euro Disney or Disney World for you guys. Like, you know, they want to do the EV hub like it's the main feature of Coolgardie now. Like, you know, they're really excited about it. They want to redo the whole. They're really excited about it, so that's great to see.
Well, I think if they work it right, they can promote their town, and I think it could be quite an advantage. But once they've got to realise what's happening, it could be good.
Sorry for butting in. I've got Steve's been extraordinarily patient with his hand up. So sorry, Steve. Please ask your question. Apologies.
I thought I'd try being patient. It really do. Sandra, very much thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. The horizon aspect. Obviously, that's not your focus, but where is Horizon up to with their part of the EV network?
Well, yeah, as you say, like there's a lot of things that we have in common. Like, for example, we did a joint tender. So I can tell you that their chargers are some Kempower and some are Tritium. And they will have at least one DC charger per site as well, and 2 chargers per site every time. And they will have the paymate as well. It won't always have exactly the same look and feel because we don't have the same constraints. They are not connected to the grid, so obviously they won't have the same opportunity, and that's why they will have some 50 kilowatts and 75 kilowatt and just a few 150 kilowatt. And where they're at in terms of construction and so on, they are a bit further, but I believe from the last conversation that I just had this afternoon with one of the guy at Horizon Power, I believe that they are starting some civil works around May.
Well, that's excellent. I was one of those lucky people to spend 6 hours in Pardue trying to get a charge so I could get the Sandfire to get the Broome, and I'm not doing that again until there's a DC network up there.
Yeah, well, I hear you. A long time ago when I was a backpacker, I got stuck 5 days in our roadhouse. I don't want anyone to have this kind of experience.
There you go.
And that's why 60 cents per kilowatt hour is such a great price. It just is for the service that you're going to get literally in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely.
I think Horizon Power is going to have a really good site. Like from what I heard, most of them will have a kind of canopy. Like it would look much sharp.
Sharp. There you go.
Very good.
Fantastic. We got Chris. Sorry, got Chris. His hand up patiently. So Chris, go for it.
Yes, just one suggestion for signage for the different bays. It's just the one I think most people will like this one. Could you put on each bay diesel and petrol cars may combust if parked in these bays?
Definitely.
I will try. Do you think I can push for this one?
It's just public safety announcement.
Is that because something like this might happen?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, fuck.
Exactly, Harold. That's exactly what we need to show on every sign.
By the way, just so that people watching this on YouTube, that wasn't Sandra saying that F-bomb. That was on the video. So,
it was, yes,
just in case
absolutely.
Sandra's boss is listening.
I should have prefaced that with a bad language warning. Apologies for that. If you've got little kiddies.
That's why, Pete, I don't tell them all the things that I'm doing. I don't ask for permission. I just do.
You ask for forgiveness afterwards.
I'm sure they don't even know Ask Us anything exists. You know?
Oh, Sandra, you're being very cruel. Everyone knows about Ask Us Anything, including Elon Musk and other famous people.
I'm sorry, Harold. I'm trying to keep it quiet in my company, at least, so that I have some leverage here.
Can I just acknowledge on that point. Think I'm right in saying this is the third night in a row that you've given up to do these presentations. This is your own time, including Valentine's Day last night. And yeah, so you're going above and beyond your call of duty. So I'm sure Harold
As you
will
all
thank
do. You all do the same, right? So
I'm
thanks
sure
for
Harold,
acknowledging it. But yeah, I was lucky enough. I have been contacted by the EV Council, and Ross Derango, that is part of the EV Council, was coming to Perth for other kind of meetings. And so he decided to try to put an industry networking catch up. And so I proposed to him to do it at Synergy, because we have a really nice collab. And it's really ideal, you know, to have collaboration. And so there was people from all the industries. There was some people from Western Power. So as per your comment, Peter, earlier, you know, it was very interesting to see that not only Synergy, but a lot of other people are frustrated with the way it can work sometimes with Western Power. And it's not to point the finger, but it's like, okay, so we know there is this issue. What can we do about it? Because we are all going through the same struggle. So obviously, Chris Jones was there and talked about Ravensthorpe. And we have the people, you know, from Gemtech, and we have people from different kind of industry, and we all have the same goal. So yeah, it was really great to be able to provide an update as well on our project, because it was, I guess it was stimulating a lot of conversation and hopefully more collaboration to come, so that this project is it's not only for this project. I think it's broader than this project. It's the whole EV of tech, you know, and how you can help some other businesses to thrive, and in putting people into contact. So like, yeah, I start to know quite a lot of people through GTs, but also in the industry. So how you can just like put them together. They will probably not even know about each other and so on, but they can find so many, excuse the pun, but so many synergies in between them, and make things work quicker or easily. If I have gone through all this struggle, I prefer other to go quicker, right? Like if I found a way to go, then we might as well share it, because at the end of the day, I don't have any commission on anything I'm doing. I'm paid the same if I do or don't, like, you know, so we might as well do the best you can, right? So I was very happy, and for the AVA and usually for Ask Us Anything, I'm always happy to give updates when there is things to say. Like I don't come every time because there's not always things to say either. Like as you see, it's a very lengthy project, so sometimes there is no much advancement to talk about.
it's nice that you saved the best for last, by the way.
Oh,
Can I say something on it, or are you expecting a comment?
No, it was just a.
Okay. No
yeah,
comment.
All right. Has anyone else got any other specific questions for Sandra? Because then we can allow Sandra to return to her, well,
my duties.
very rare bits of time off, because like Pete was basically saying, you know, Sandra really has been working amazingly hard for this project and for the benefit of all of us collectively. And a lot of that stuff has been done in her own time and on her own initiative. And it's just an awesome thing that we've got that privilege to see a little bit of that insight. So have anyone got any closing questions for Sandra before we let Sandra go?
I would just like to say merci beaucoup, Sandra. You
Plaisir.
did a very good job, and I would like to reiterate what Harold said. Really
Yes.
appreciate your efforts.
That's very kind. Thank you, guys. I'm very happy. Look, you will be saying it will be operational, right? Let's not, let's not sell the bear before we have killed it.
2 quick questions from me, Harold, before Sandra goes. Would
It's
be
not going to
wonderful
be quick.
to have someone from Horizon come and talk to us as well. So and give us an update on the NWIS part of the project. So
are you listening to my phone, Pete? I feel like you're listening to my phone, because I was telling that to the guy I had on from Horizon Power today. I put him in contact with Harold, saying to the guy, come on, you never give update on Horizon Power. I'm always on my own. It's always synergy side. This is a common project. We should be talking together on this. When are you coming with us? Give us some information. We know nothing on when you are starting, when you are doing this. We know nothing about you. You know all what we do. And so like, I felt like you are listening to me. Did you put a bug in my phone or something? Yeah, hopefully they will get on board. They start to get excited. I think they start to see the value as well of having the experts on board, as they have signed an NDA and so on. They start to see the value of having their advice and their support. So fingers crossed, they will also collaborate more.
Fantastic. And
the
just
last
one
one,
last
Pete.
question: when are you getting an EV, Sandra?
I'm working for Synergy, mate. That's all I have to say.
Well,
in my opinion, Synergy should give. I think, in my opinion, Synergy should give Sandra an EV for all the extra work that she's been doing on this project.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I will record you on this one.
Yes, we'll timestamp that for you, Sandra, and I'll send you the link to it.
That's why I use you guys. You know, like when I need.
By the way, if you use a novated lease and salary sacrifice it, it works out cheaper than a $40,000 car. About $250 a week, salary sacrificed, out of pocket.
I know your Excel spreadsheet, Pete. Don't worry.
Alrighty.
Well, thanks for
once
the
again,
opportunity.
thank you very much, Sandra. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And you're welcome back anytime whenever there's a new update. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for joining us and really making this a great show.
Thank you. And if you have any question or anything that you want, you can always, I will put my email in the chat and you can always reach out if you have questions or concerns or events coming and you think it's of value for us to assist or anything. I'm always happy to help. So thanks, guys. Have a lovely night.
Thanks, Sandra. You too.
Yeah.
Take care.
Sandra.
Bye.
Thanks, Sandra.
Alrighty. So has anyone got any other questions or even about the EV highway or whatever after that awesome presentation?
What a legend, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, look, I mean it absolutely sincerely. The WEV network, fast DC charger network, is going to be as good as it is, principally because of Sandra and a lot of the lobbying that she did, some of the decisions that she made, and just the continuous advocating for a better and better system. And again, we get back to the $20 million, which was a political decision that had nothing to do with Synergy or Horizon Power, to ring out 49 locations with $20 million that spans the state.
Remote locations.
And remote locations is just extraordinary. You know,
Chris Jones made the point. He said that Sandra has effectively kept this project alive and wringing the most value out of it. The Premier should just hand Sandra the scissors to cut the ribbon on the launch. Really.
Oh, that would be a nice gesture.
Would be.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and she doesn't even own an EV, so it's all selfless. Completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Peter was trying to say something.
Yeah, go, Pete.
I was just saying that you can see she takes the initiative, and that's what drives a good project manager. They're brilliant. They take the initiative. They go on the front foot. They don't necessarily tell administration what's going on. They just get in and do it. And you can tell from her, she's just brilliant. It's good to see.
Yeah. Now, she did actually say that it's got to be completed by the end of this year. Now, that's Synergy's bit.
No. She said Q1 next year.
Q1 24.
Nigel.
So are Horizon also going to be put on the same constraints? Because they need to pull the finger out.
That's what the media statement said when it was made back in. Well, it's been on the website for ages. It's always been Q1 next year.
No,
which let's call it 1 year's time, because that's what it basically is.
A little bit earlier.
Are Horizon going to be doing that as well? Because
yes, it's the whole project, Nigel.
Going at the moment.
It's the whole project. So So
I think
even though,
Harold, sorry, I'm going to interrupt there, but
oh, sorry, Sandra.
I think Harold, there is an extension for Horizon Power sites because they have additional sites to join to South Australia. So my understanding, and I can verify and give you the exact things for next week, but my understanding is that they had an extension of about a year.
And that's for the Baladonia, Karguna, Majura, and
Yeah,
Eucla.
you know, when they got this endorsement for the new location, I'm pretty sure they had as well. I saw some media statement. I was like, what? The date was right, and I think that's because they got an extension of dates because of the additional locations.
But it
It would
was
be great
just
to
for
ask
those.
Horizon Power. I will ask them.
But it was just for those 4 locations. It wasn't for all their other sites.
I'm not sure if it has been, like, personally, I haven't read it like super clear, like, I give you 12 months for 4 location, or I give, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because
I know that for
thought it was.
Synergy it's Q1 24 and Horizon Power I have seen several times, like early 2025. So that's why I was assuming that it was because of the additional location. I can be wrong. I will ask and I will find out and let you know.
Excellent. Yeah, because I thought it was like a second stage, you know, the 4 charges were segregated into a second stage for Horizon, but yeah, we'll find out next week.
Awesome. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any other questions? Since we were talking about charges, thanks to Russell. Oh, my mouse has just disappeared. Here we go. Thanks to Russell, he sent me this little clip from, I think it's Dashcams Australia, and it goes a little bit like this. So I don't quite know what's going on here.
And Richard Chapman's done something. He's stopped it.
Don't you go accusing me of things, Jared.
It's finally popped up on the screen.
It's a hell of a way to unholster a supercharger just quietly.
Weren't they just turning round?
Yeah, they were. So he was just reversing back and hit it edge on.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
To the right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So did the charging handle fall out?
Yeah.
It's a hell of a way to unholster a supercharger.
I was just
so is that down then?
Go on, Ant. Oops, sorry. Go on, Ant.
Speaking of superchargers, strangely I don't really use them that often, and on the way to Esperance I used the one at Williams, and I found it incredibly difficult to pull out of the holster. Are all of them like that? And has that
you need to lift it?
One been like that
you lift
forever?
up. You lift it up. You got to lift it up.
Even lifting it, I still got a bruise on my arm pulling it out. It's very stiff.
Yeah, they're all 3 are difficult. They're quite tight there.
Lightweight 240-volt lead for the Leaf, and that's why.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
With that 240-volt lead on it, you run out to charge it. That's the difference. Got some serious power that you're normally putting in.
They are a bit hard. Maybe hold it further back to the actual cable end so you've got a little bit more leverage rather than at the actual nozzle itself. So if you just sort of hold the nozzle and then pull the cable a little bit, it might help a little bit. Because I think some of them are a little bit fresh, so they're not sort of worn in a bit. But
and even if you push in and up a little bit, that tends to help too.
Yeah, maybe I should just supercharge more often. I mean, that was literally I've supercharged 4 times in the 2 years I've had it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like everyone says, like we all know, most people will be and ought to be charging at home because that's between costing nothing and not very much. And you really should be using superchargers for their real purpose and any other fast DC charger, which is to go on a road trip. Or if you're a business, a courier or something, then you use them. But why wouldn't you just charge at home if that's where you live?
I think that's one of the things that people like maybe get a little bit, how can I put this diplomatically? Like, yeah, just going back to what you were saying, Harold, is like, I don't care if it's $2 a kilowatt hour when we're on the road, because 99% of the time you're at home charging off whatever tariff you've got that's best for you. So, but I think people are still in that mindset of like, well, that price at the pump is what I will have to pay all the time.
Yeah.
When that isn't the case, of course.
Absolutely true.
And that was the brilliance of Synergy's pricing. So you got 60 cents per kilowatt hour for DC, fast DC, and 35 cents per kilowatt hour for the AC, which is perfectly priced, because if you are a bit price conscious, and I mean, let's face it, it's still a fraction the cost of fuel. So anyone in an EV that whinges about the price of electricity is just look at the people queuing on so-called cheap Tuesday, desperately trying to knock off, $5 off their $80 petrol bill, but when you see the 35 cents per kilowatt hour on AC, it's great. So if you're going to a town and you want to hang around for a bit, or you're going to have a long lunch, you can plug in and get electricity almost as cheap as you can from home, which is awesome.
And here's another funny thing that's I've only kind of just realised, even though I didn't do it for this. We've just put the X on a novated lease, and of course your fuel is part of that, which includes charging for electric vehicles. So
knock yourself out and pay big bucks.
Well, yeah, so because the X will be the car that we now use for road trips, because it's much better. It's just a dream compared to the S. For camping and road trips, but and now that's even cheaper, because the pricing, the fuel for it will be through the novated lease, so it's actually even cheaper if you do it that way.
Can you wind the front driver window up yet, though?
How did you know about that?
Sorry. Or open the door. Can you do it from the outside yet?
Have you reattached the trim?
The trim is at my place. It's at Richard and I haven't got together yet, but I've got a brand new trim.
It's just a feature. It's just
adds character.
I just want to say something, if I can. I fully agree. Like having a EV, right, and being able to fast charge, now being able to have many more locations, thanks to the amazing work that Sandra and so many others are in there, is invaluable. But we're converted, right? We love these cars. We see the benefits. It's amazing. But I have many conversations about people that are still incredibly skeptical about it. And if you then on top of it have the argument, well, it's like 90 cents or even $1 or more of it. And it's like, if you had a fuel efficient, normal car, and it's like, I should pay more for it. It's just a tough argument to be made. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the 60 cents is good, but I just heard, and I mean, this is amazing for Tesla to open up their supercharger network to others, but I think that will be close to 80, 85, 90 cents or something like this.
It's 79 cents. It's 79 cents for It's 79 cents for non-EVs.
So it's right around 80 cents.
And then it's 66
for non-Tesla.
For non-Teslas, and then for Tesla it's 66 cents.
Exactly. And
I mean, 79
it's so hard to recover the cost. So essentially others that are private businesses and they want to set things up. So for them, they would have to charge around that price or possibly more to make up for it. But it's going to be a tougher, that's all I'm saying. It's a tougher sell for others to basically be convinced that they should pay more for something where they have to possibly charge
I disagree.
longer.
I disagree. Even in my experience, at $1 per kilowatt hour, people are not really put off by that. I mean, my experience in Esperance, for example, is that I just happened to mention that I was in Esperance on social media, and I spent a fair amount of time on my holiday doing a mini Electricana at Esperance, driving people around who had not seen an EV but had put the money down, pushed the button on on a Tesla or another car. A Subaru Solterra is one of them, and the price of charging didn't on en route sites did absolutely not put them off one little bit. They were looking at the price of charging at home, which is next to nothing, and most of them had solar. So I think the 60 cents, 79 cents, 80 cents, $1 does not put anyone who's going to buy an EV off one little bit.
Well, hopefully you're right. I mean, I'm
right.
I'm talking also to a lot of people that are not as curious about EVs, like they see mine, but they're like, they want to know. And a lot of them are like, well, it's so much more expensive to buy. They hear these prices of the charging, they hear the price of the charging going up. And so obviously, there are some reservations.
Christian,
That's all I'm
just
saying.
two things. So in terms of the upfront cost, if they have a job and they can get a novated lease, it's cheaper than an average car in Australia. A Model 3 Standard Range Plus now on a weekly basis in terms of your repayments is cheaper than an average Australian petrol car. So they're cheaper upfront if you buy that way, number one. Even if you buy it upfront and just fork out the cash, in 3 years' time, you'll be ahead. So, it's a bit like you buy a solar system. If it costs you, let's say, $9,000, your first kilowatt hour of electricity, which otherwise would cost 30 cents, costs you $9,000. Your second kilowatt hour costs you $4.5. Your third one costs you $3,000. After 3 or 4 years, the system's paid for itself, and then you've got free electricity for the rest of the warranted period. So yes, it's more upfront, but then you get it back, within you break even roughly in about 3 years. In terms of the cost of charging, don't forget that 99% of, people that live in the city, over 90% of people will be charging at home the vast majority of the time. So, these charges you'll probably use on holidays. How many times does an average person go on holidays? 2, 3, 4 times a year. So, you've got 3 or 4 trips where you might pay a little bit extra. All the other time you've got free electricity from the solar system at home, or free electricity not free or complimentary electricity from shopping centres.
And a simple parallel with the price argument is you live in a house and you're prepared to pay a mortgage, but on occasion you go on holidays and you're prepared to pay $150 a night, $200 a night on holidays. Now, if you had to pay $200 a night in your own house, that's a pretty big mortgage. But people don't blink an eye at going on holidays and paying several times a mortgage rate.
100% agree with that. I don't know how, but as you said, you look at Cheap Tuesdays, you see people lining up for hours or minutes, like quarter hour easily, to get like $2, $3, $5 ahead, to do that. There is something about it that triggers people when they hear the price of fuel, even though it's cheaper right now to do that compared to any other normal fuel car. There are only some that would be really cheaper, but it triggers people. It's really strange. There's some psychological argument.
Christian, I think it will only be a relatively short period of time, because as the grid is built out with solar and batteries, and that then ultimately brings the cost down, I think it will bring the prices down, and then there'll be less of an argument. So I think that my view of the long-term cost of electricity for charging and everything is that
I'm not going. I'm waiting for my turn. Sorry. I've been trying to say something.
Okay, sorry, Richard. Go, Paul. Paul's getting frustrated. Let's go, Paul.
No, it was just like what you were saying before. I can give a feedback. Like I recently started at work, and one of the ladies, and I actually get peppered with questions every day because people have all the FUD and all that sort of stuff. But I actually had someone that they drive a Merc and all that sort of stuff and blah, 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 and all the things that you're saying. And then yesterday, she actually came up and said, I'm looking at getting an X.
Excellent.
So, and that was without me taking him for a spin or anything. It was just answering some questions. And now she's just like, yeah, I'm going to get a Model X. And I said, well, we're good. I said, "We'll get that, or get a performance Y. If you want a car now, So yeah, so I think a lot of the people, you just don't worry about them. They'll get there on their own. You just
Yeah, they will absolutely. I mean, just sort of harking back to my time in Esperance, I was just topping up outside Connor Davies' place. He runs the Beam e-scooters workshop or franchise in Esperance, and so he's got a charger outside, or an EVC outside his place, and next door is a place called Tatey's Fishing World, and Tatey is a sort of scruffy-looking chap who turned up while I was charging in a great big 4x4, and he sidles over to me. He says, "I really don't like EVs." I said, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. Why don't you like EVs?" You couldn't go long distance in them. No, he's standing next to my car in Esperance. I've driven from Perth, and the level of ignorance is astounding, and also the level of cognitive dissonance. That
100% agree.
I think that
100% agree.
once somebody's discovered that EVs might actually be a good thing, the switch is made, and that switch is often made on a drive. I took Tatey for a drive, and seriously, I reckon that guy will be owning an EV within 2 years. The fact is that it's not about the price on the road. It's not about any political arguments. The actual tactile sense of being able to save money while charging at home or anything like that pales into insignificance when you actually take them for a drive. It makes it just chalk and cheese afterwards. The guy was almost pro EV. He was still having a bit of a whinge, about the fact that that it won't go driving over the sand dunes like he does in his 4x4. But there's horses for courses. I mean, he's got a city car as well. So yeah, extreme arguments. I've heard them all, and people will switch over to EVs. They just will.
I'm a convert, but I think we need to be a little bit careful about just taking this for granted. If you just look at the sales numbers in the UK, they've taken a massive dip in the first 1 or 2 months now, definitely January, because power prices have gone up so much. So I agree in general, this is where it's going. But, you always think, I don't know, this is maybe a weird analogy, but I've thought with the internet, having all that information at your fingertips, people will be more smart and be able to make better choices. And it's good for a lot of them, but it's also not always true.
Christian, just on that note, just supporting your argument a little bit. People ask me all the time about the car. I can tell them how wonderful it is for the environment. I can tell them it's very quiet to drive. It's got all the tech in the world and it's fantastic. But the only one they ever listen to is when I say, and I don't pay anything to charge it because I charge it on solar. And then they go, really? That's the only thing that anybody cares about. And when you say, Harold, nobody cares about the price, how much it is. I get you. I agree with you. But other people don't. They don't understand that.
But for when I'm talking to people now, I show them my charge stats for last year, how much I pay, what's on your app, and I don't have mine for free, and it was less than $500, and they're like, "That's it, boom." So it doesn't have to be zero; it just has to be bugger all in comparison to what they pay.
Really prick their ears up if you say zero, and I'm honest.
But people, EV owners have done this many times. I think Tesla's a little bit to blame originally when they had free destination charging and free supercharging. Is I've seen EV owners sit at an AC charger for hours and they think they're getting a great deal, getting something for nothing, even though they're spending 3 of their hours of time, and they're obviously figuring that their time is worth next to nothing. because at 11 kilowatts, what are you putting into your car? You're putting in $3 an hour worth of electricity for free. So
But as
if you think
Christian
your
said,
time,
Harold,
yeah,
as
I know,
Christian
but
said, people
it's human nature.
queue
Humans
for
are really
hours.
stupid individuals. We really are dumb because we'll sit there for 3 hours thinking we're getting a good deal when those 3 hours worth $10 could be spent buying
100%.
a tenth of a Tesla share at the bottom of the market and seeing that now worth double, you know.
Well,
Even
always,
more now.
always taught in sales, if you're in sales, you pick on the thing that people listen to and you stick with it. So
Yeah.
I stick with the cost. It doesn't matter about the fact the car costs 70,000+. That's irrelevant. Nobody listens to that bit. They just want to know that you're paying less per week to charge your vehicle. And
Yeah, I just
Absolutely.
what I do is I just put my foot down, and that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ant mentioned someone was talking about they were whinging that you can't go up and down sand dunes. So all I can say to that is there's a very simple and rounded solution, and it's this thing. That's
Oh,
all you
yeah,
need,
baby.
and that will go up and down sand dunes. That will own the sand dunes. That will turn sand dunes into just a little corrugated road.
You
can
can
do it
even
in
drive
Model Y in
sideways
four-wheel
with
drive.
full steering.
It will. That is going to be the. If you think the Model Y is big, that's going to kill all of them.
Oh yeah.
You should order one out.
About that.
Oh yeah, haven't you?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that again, Chris? Sorry, who said that?
I said you should order one.
Me, Harold.
Chris, I already have ordered one.
I know.
In November 2019.
Put up your
It's
hand
been a
if you
while.
ordered one.
Most of the people in this room have ordered
Yeah.
one. Everyone put their hands up who's got a Cybertruck on order.
Go on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And they're the hands you can see. There are lots of people that are muted that aren't admitting to it.
But I do want to say though
you know
that even though I have one on order, it's
Sorry,
more
and
from a principal point of view, and I still think they're fugly.
You still think what? Sorry, say that again, Anthony. Say that again, Ant. You still think they're ugly?
I've got one on order. I had one since 2019 as well, but I think they're fugly.
It is fugly. That is so bad looking. I just can't wait to get one.
Harold, you know what you were saying the other day about they're getting a little bit easier to import left hookers into Australia. So what's stopping someone buying a Cybertruck in the States and importing it straight here?
I could give a couple of thousand reasons why we could do that. That'd be great, because a couple of people cutting me a couple of checks, that's for sure. If there's one here by December next year. Yeah,
it's been
all I can say is, oh man, it'd just be worth it. On paper, I reckon that project would probably cost about $20,000.
No, 150 grand if you include the cost of the
No,
car.
No, not the
No, I
cost
mean I mean the net cost. So
Yeah.
if you bought one in America, shipped it to Australia, that's going to cost you 10 grand to ship to Australia. Would it cost that much? Is it that? I guess it's pretty. No, but I don't think it'll fit in a sea container, would it? I don't know if it would.
No, it'll fit in a sea container. You might even, because you can fit 2 regular cars into a sea container. Yeah,
It's too wide, isn't it?
No, you reduce it down.
Can you fit an F-150 in?
I don't know, because that's
if
right,
you
Richard.
can,
It's the same envelope.
Yeah.
So I mean, and anyway, you can probably just stick it on a ro-ro, because there are ro-ros that go from the States to at least the eastern states. So it might cost you 20 or 30 grand as a project, and all I can say is, oh man, what an amazing project to get a Cybertruck 2 or 3 years earlier than otherwise.
Yeah,
and I'll bet you any money, the guys in Tesla in Perth would do whatever it took to convert the charge port to whatever was needed to make it work on superchargers here. They would just make it happen, just quietly. So,
driving that down the road.
Oh yeah.
So all I can say is that is such an awesome project. Let's just hope that one of us does it.
Someone does it.
I was going to say, should we do a group booking?
Oh no, don't do the group
Oh.
booking because that's just pain and suffering. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I meant, you know,
But
like a few of us, not all of us.
but perhaps there'll be someone in the room that's crazy enough to take that on and
Yeah, but you could flip it for another 50K on top. Easy.
Yeah, probably.
we'd have to flip it back in America, so you'd have to bring it in on
Oh.
on a temporary import or something like a special import or whatever.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
left-hand drive's not a big problem these days, but it's just there's be a bit of paperwork, and then you'd probably have to just flip it over over in America. Go, Pete.
Harold, I thought the rules were that the manufacturer would have to not have the intention of introducing that car in Australia over the next 12 months or something like that.
Well, that'll be easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, which
Tesla,
they're not.
2 weeks.
Well, look at the Model X. So this is the story. I think you saw it in the news, and it actually did come about because Vita Prime, who again we all understand is a guru as far as ship tracking is concerned, he's forgotten more about tracking ships than we will ever know. And he also has access to paid services that helps him with that venture. He put out a tweet today saying that there's big news coming for Australia, and a lot of people jumped on and said, "Oh, it's they're bringing a boatload of long-range Model Ys," and obviously we know that's just not true because Tesla's not going to bring a boat of anything that hasn't had orders on it yet, and Model Y long range isn't on the order page yet. What? And then someone else, I think it was carsales.com.au had all I could call it is a reflex rushed article saying that they'd looked at the Rover Department of Transport website and seen that today there was a new road vehicle descriptor for the Model 3. And they basically jumped on and did what non-reporters do and say, aha, this is Project Highland, and what's more, it's got more power, it's got more kilowatt hours, it's got more of everything. And then when a few people did some cursory examination of the previous documents, they found out that the latest one that was brought out today is virtually identical to the one that was brought out last year. So that was a non-story. But something that happened to me a couple of days ago was because I've got an order for a performance Model Y, I incessantly look at when you've got an order, you go to manage your car, you manage your order, and that'll tell you, when it's due to come. And for all of us in Perth, it says, between January, which is not going to happen, and March, which is probably not going to happen. Anyway, I just happened to touch on to my Model X order. And then I saw that it said, I forget what the exact wording was, but it was basically saying that, can you please enter in your registration details and driver details? And it's like, oh, hello, that's new, but I don't know when that exactly happened. So then I rang someone else who has got an order for a Model X, and that person confirmed the same thing. And that was actually for a Performance X, whereas mine was just a long range. And obviously we know the Performance is going to be a Plaid and the long range is going to be the standard Model X. So that's super duper interesting, because I guess the rhetorical question is, why would Tesla be getting people to fill out, some people, and I saw on Twitter that Nash from Tesla and the Gong hasn't gotten that request yet, which makes it more interesting because it's like...
Harold, do you know when Nash ordered his? Because I asked him that question on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he said he ordered it within the first hour.
Yeah, and he ordered it within the first hour of the reveal, which was in March or something, wasn't it? Or February, March?
So after what, the refresh reveal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was in late February or March or something. So because he's ordered a Plaid, whereas others have ordered just a Performance X, which will become a Plaid, because we always knew that, because these cars were ordered in early January 2021 after the Fremont factory was closed and the line was dismantled before Christmas, because Elon Musk tweeted that out, that it was shut. So what's really interesting is some orders have got a request from Tesla to fill out rego details, and other later orders don't. And what that tells me is Tesla is getting ready finally to send a batch, or at least the first batch, of at least Model X's that we know of, or we infer, and probably therefore Model S's, which is about time, because it's been long enough. The Plaid's been out, the refresh model's been out for 2 years, and it's about time we got it in Australia.
What's the
So
hold up on the Model Y performance? I really don't understand. They're making them in China. They're delivering them to China. Why are we not getting them here?
Because WA is treated like a separate country, and I don't mean that to be smart, but it literally is. They do send ships direct to Fremantle, and they've only been doing that recently. And as a matter of fact, what we do know is, for instance, there are some people over east who have got day one orders for Model Y that still haven't gotten their Y yet. And if it's not day one orders, it's day 2, day 3, or the first week. And in some places over east, some of those orders haven't been fulfilled yet, whereas in WA, they're filling orders, I think, well beyond September, October. So we've been given much more than our fair share of allocation in WA for whatever reason. Maybe it's to make up for lost time or God knows what. But then in the performance Y, it sounds like it's flipped back. So in Brisbane, a couple of people have gotten their performance Ys already, and a lot of people over east have openly declared on Twitter and other social media that they've gotten their VINs allocated. But as far as I know, there's no one in WA that's got their VIN. I certainly haven't. My wife hasn't. I don't think, Pete, you've got any VINs allocated. There's lots of people that haven't. So so for the performance wise, we've just got to wait. Sorry, Chris, you got a question?
It's more of a debate item, really. I want to know what people think about this idea. Which comes first? Are we going to get the Cybertruck, or is Tesla going to buy Rivian because it's going to go buzz and get some affordable trucks into the market? Because at this rate, it's going to be a long time for the Cybertruck, and I think it's going to be very expensive from the sounds of it. So how do they compete against the Great Walls and the Fords and the Rivians and Ram and everybody else?
Tesla will never buy a Rivian because the Rivians are much more expensive to produce than the Cybertruck. So
yeah, but he could take the IP.
What's that?
You could take the IP and make it a Tesla.
Tesla is not going to buy any other car company, period.
Well, they're in front of Tesla with a truck. Tesla haven't got
I was going to say, and the Bolt was in front of the Model 3, and see what the difference is now. Rivian's going to be out of business in 2 years.
Tesla takes its own IP.
Biggest selling thing in America is a truck, and same here.
Yeah. Chris, Tesla takes its own IP and opens it up for the rest of the world and the rest of the industry to use. So they're not going to be buying anyone else's IP.
It's only a discussion topic. I'm not saying I think it could happen.
No,
It's an interesting one because they are lacking. The biggest market is trucks. Whether it's right or wrong, I think it's ridiculous, but that's how it is. Look, sedans are the thing of the past, and yet Tesla builds sedans primarily. Yes, they build the Y and the X, but primarily they build sedans, and yet people have shown that they don't want sedans anymore. I do. I
think
like them.
If someone's gonna buy Rivian, it's gonna be definitely someone else. Maybe even someone like Apple that's gonna buy some of the IP and stuff, but have someone else make it.
Yeah.
But because Apple was pegged to try to buy Tesla at some point. I don't know if that was true, but there was a rumor. It's a while ago. It was like, I don't know, like 2015, 16, something around that time.
Tim Cook didn't take the meeting when in 2008, when Tesla was very close to not in 2008, during the Model 3 ramp. He
was later. Yeah, it was exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
they were right on their bones on their behind. Elon Musk rang Tim Cook, and Tim Cook never answered the phone, never took the meeting.
Yeah, so that I think one of those could possibly buy it, but Tesla, why would they buy Rivian, right? I mean, they have all the engineering, everything to scale. I think it's like they've been just so knee deep in getting all these Model Ys out, which were really taking or are still taking the world by storm. So I think once they get their presses nicely set up and they're just banging out all these shapes and triangles for Mr. Murphy here, to make his
I think we need to
shapes
get a
on
Model
wheels.
Y.
I think this is they're gonna make them in record time and at a really cheap price.
So if we get a Model Y as a group and cut the back off and put a tray on the back, would that be the first EVU?
No, Simone Gertz did it with the Truckler. It was
The
a Model,
Truckler. The
a Model
Truckler.
3.
Yeah, the Truckler.
Now, just incidentally, I did find, it took me a little bit of Googling, but I have found the release prices in 2019 dollars at least, which gives, and in obviously US dollars, that gives you an indication of pricing. So these are old configurations and old prices. So these have obviously gone up, but the single motor bare bones is $40,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
So that's, in Australia, that's, let's call it 60,000 Australian plus a few on bits, right? And if we take the tri-motor, which we now know to be a quad motor, and let's call it 70,000, but let's call it 80,000 US dollars just for the sake of the argument. When you divide that by the exchange rate, it's less than $120,000 plus on-roads, plus luxury car tax, plus a few other bits. So we're looking at between 80 to, or not even 80, to let's call it worst case for something that can do 0 to 100 in less than 2.9 seconds, because this is the tri-motor. This is not the plaid setup. No. So that's the tri-motor. There's going to be a quad motor, so it's going to be faster than 2.9 seconds, and it's going to cost less landed on roads than $150,000. That's
Land
just
Cruiser
mind blowing.
Sahara that's Land Cruiser Sahara edition category, and a lot of people drive that.
Yeah, but the Sahara can pull 3.5 ton or something. This will be able to tow like 6 ton.
6.5 tons.
Damn.
And go 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds.
I know.
So it pulls
with the caravan.
It pulls 14,000 pounds. Sorry, it tows 14,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Your caravan may rattle apart at that speed, but anyway.
The caravan.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
And the best part is this part.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my fucking god. Sure? Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard. It didn't go through. So that's a plus side. Let's try the right. Try that one, really? Okay.
You really want to do it?
Oh man. It didn't go through.
Oh, that was one of the best marketing things ever, eh?
It wasn't. It was not.
No, I know, but it was really good because all the media showed it the next day.
Oh yeah, it turned out that way. Yeah.
Worldwide. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And there's a t-shirt all about it.
Got one.
And one of those bald heads right there was yours truly, but I'm not bragging.
Oh, I think I can see you there, Harold.
Oh, the old white guy with the bald head, yeah. Is that one or that one or that one or that one?
Yes.
Get to choose from there.
That's right.
Oh,
it means that the glass flakes just like get out of your hair easier if you have it bald. See, it's better protection. But yes, that's a Cybertruck which you're all waiting for. But anyway,
I was going to say, can I put a bid in now for your performance Y, since your plaid will be here before
No, I'm not getting a plaid. No, I'm only getting
your normal X.
Yeah, and the normal X unfortunately does
What
0
happens
to
if they rock
100.
up at the same time?
No. Well,
You
put
have
it
too
this
many
way:
cars.
without telescoping everything I'm going to do, if I can confirm that the X is coming in the next few months,
Yeah.
then sadly, even though
Yeah.
my officially very first, I was just by luck, well, not by luck, by good management, the first person in Australia to get an order in, and I think Russell was very close second. And Paul, you were in our group. You were probably the last of our group, but you were probably about the 7th in Australia, because I think you would have beaten everyone else too. Because remember how you were refreshing, you were hitting refresh, and nothing was happening.
I think it
That's
took
what
me
the,
a minute and a half to order my first. My
yeah.
one.
Yep. So I will probably. This makes sense to cancel the Y performance and in lieu of the X long range, which will only do 0.2 of a second slower 0 to 100 than the performance Y. So I'll handle that for an X or for yoke.
I'll be in the same position as well, I think.
So let's hope Vita Prime does confirm pretty soon that that is the news. And then there might be a white on white performance Y that, well, for anyone that wants a Y performance sooner, we'll be able to get one in inventory really quickly, unfortunately, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Just for information, Harold, my Model X Plaid hasn't asked me to put any further details. It's just still on the original deposit, and we'll let you know.
When did you order yours, John? Do you remember?
Oh,
if you're on the website, we can show you how to find out when you ordered it.
yeah, I think I took a.
So John, did you? So you said you ordered a Plaid. So that's what you ordered, didn't you? You didn't order a performance X.
No,
You ordered
Plaid.
a Plaid.
It was when the Plaid came out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Plaid. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was in February or March. So you ordered it well past,
before my Y.
Yeah. Which is why which is really good, because what it means is there are quite a few more cars in the queue to be delivered initially than your order.
Yeah.
Which gives me a little bit more confidence that it must. I think this is what it is, because it just makes too much sense for it to be anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting times, although frustrating, because I wouldn't have minded driving around in a Performance Y for a year or so. But the only thing better than driving around in a Performance Y is driving around in a Model X. So as Richard
but I'm all
can
dressed
attest,
up with all my equipment,
Yes.
I've got for the Y, and no car. All going to the ball with a dress, but no ball.
What? Yeah, true. I mean, I've even
Guys, just FYI, I don't think you're going to find sympathy from anyone anywhere.
We're all in the same
Break it
boat.
to you. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
and don't forget, a lot of us who've got Cybertruck orders, we are going to end up waiting probably 5 years minimum if we ordered anywhere near day one. So
Well, the Model X, when it arrives, I would have waited over 8 years for that car, because I ordered the initial Model X in 2014, order number 39, put down my 6K, waited a couple of years, and then the price was just couldn't justify at the time. So I ended up ordering the Model 3 and have regretted that decision ever since.
Pete, if you put in that money for the Model X back then in 2017,
Stop it, Harold. I don't
know where you're going.
and when Tesla were 300,
was it 6.5?
And when Tesla were $384, that value in Model X would have been in shares would have been $6.5 million. We'll just let that soak there for a little bit. But anyway,
Hey,
it's a
at least
journey.
you got some shares now.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of shares, so a couple of us had a little pissy get together, and Jared's not here. Damn it. Anyway,
No, he's left.
I can promise everyone in the room that there will be a rather sizable party when the price of Tesla shares hits $1,000, and it'll probably be like a Terminator themed party because it'll be like T1000, just like the Terminator. And it's going to be really important that anyone that wants to go to the party is a full financial TOCWA member. Because there's going to be a party when the Tesla share price is $1,000.
Before or after the split? Now with
now.
At today's. This is at today's relative.
Basically, what would that equate to? A $10 trillion valuation, something like that.
Oh no, I'm not sure about that. What's their number of shares? They've got $1 billion. No, it's after split, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. So their market cap at the moment.
600, wasn't it? 600 billion.
Yeah,
656 US.
So if we go,
so multiply that by 5, so 3.3 trillion.
Yeah. So in the future, if we date stamp this or whatever time stamp it, it's roughly a bit less than the 3-hour mark. Whatever the split equivalent is. So if it's at $1,000 a share in today's share structure, whatever that is in the future because of splits or whatever, if Tesla gets to the equivalent of $1,000 a share in today's money, there will be a rather large party, and it will be important that anyone that wants to attend that party is a financial.
Yeah, but the biggest question is that party with or without a Cybertruck?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because look, the party. Let's say what if Tesla hits $1,000 a share in a year's time, which I don't think it will actually. To be honest,
No.
That's okay. It doesn't matter with or without a Cybertruck. It's just the party.
The party. Okay.
But it will be a party that you've not seen before.
Well, the mood will be very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Rather. So anyway, so that's something that was agreed to do. Well, very recently.
At $1,000 Tesla share price, there will be a lot of people retiring.
I've still got
a lot of people in this club that will be retiring.
Mine's 1,500.
Well, there's a commitment. Well, look, we might look. I tell you what.
I could retire at 1,000.
Tell you what.
We'll
have $1,000. We'll have a T1000 party.
Yep.
And then for every 500 it goes up, we can just afford another one. It doesn't matter. We'll just keep having parties, you know.
Goals.
I'll be in that.
Any location in the world you want.
Or
no, I've already got a location in mind. It's central into the city. But anyway, we'll keep a little bit for later. But it'll be big. Trust me. Very big. Anyway, all right. So we've had the RE. We've gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. Well, that's actually even better than ridiculous. Any other questions or comments?
We're over 200 now.
Yeah, $209.25.
Pre-market 212 at the moment. Pre-market 212.
Let's have a look at that. Yes, yes, it is. 212.42. Very nice. And of course, the great thing is, we've got for us, it'll be the 2nd of March. So I think it's going to be another momentous day for Tesla because, Elon Musk keeps speaking it as it's not just an investor day. In fact, if you're invested on this planet, it's a very big day for you. Because it's really going to show he's going to declare his so-called secret master plan version 3. And it's all about scale. And it's probably all about, a commercial vehicle, as in like a transit van or something like that. And possibly at least describing the robo-taxi or something similar and it's just going to be super exciting, and that's only a couple of weeks away.
Followed by hopefully the launch of the big spaceship booster full assembly.
Oh yeah, well that's SpaceX.
Maybe
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Or whatever happens, it'll be spectacular. Literally.
Either way, we're gonna win.
Whatever happened, it's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All
right,
right.
I'm gonna go.
I wanted to tell you guys.
All right. See you, Paul. Take care.
We went on December down the road trip with the Tesla Model 3 and a roof box on top of it. And I asked before, like, what kind of a hit in consumption do we expect? And it didn't really have anything. I can say it's about 20 to 22%. So went from about 180 watt hours per kilometers to roughly around 220 over almost 2,000 kilometers in total. Went really well. Family of 4, fully loaded, went camping. Went really well. We loved it.
Model 3?
Model 3.
Yes.
Was it the fuel? THULE? Or
it was from Thule, yes. There was some guy on Facebook Marketplace that he also has a Tesla, and he also goes camping with that, but he doesn't do it all the time. So he rents it out. And it was really easy. You could just grab it and put it on the board. It's not one that's super efficiently shaped or whatever. There are like some that are even flatter, but it's had 400 liters capacity. And boy, oh boy, this has really helped. That was awesome.
And you had the Tesla roof racks?
Yes, Tesla roof racks, and put that on there a bit asymmetric, so it's a bit easier to get onto.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And also, like, coming back, just one more sentence to the charging and the charging experience. Williams, Tesla chargers, super easy. Coaching up, much tougher. Like it stopped mid-charging 2 to 3 times, both ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I was at Coaching Up, it didn't work at all. So
yeah, that's what you said. You had some trouble there. I was like, it's good to have Williams as a backup. But yeah, I was just trying them all out. But I think especially the some Tesla short standard ranges that they were really relying on the Coaching Up one.
Well, hopefully Tesla will be, it makes sense that Tesla will go to Coaching Up because we know they're going to go to Albany, and it just makes sense that you have Coaching Up for people on the way down, so that you leave Perth full, get to Coaching Up low, and then top right up to get to Albany. And then on the reverse journey, you leave Albany full, get to Williams low, and then top up and then get home.
That would be brilliant. I hope they do that. I mean, I'm really excited about the Tesla charger in Albany, because that really gives you that added opportunity to go further, or even if you can, get something in there to not be like at just 5% and then rely for overnight charging to get you somewhere. So I think this is really good, and I'm glad they're investing. I hope other charging networks will pick up at some point too.
The problem with Albany is if you're going to Walpole, it's a little bit out of the way.
Yeah.
So Coaching Up would be absolutely perfect.
The only issue is, of course, I don't think the arena funding has come out for the rural charges yet. So, you've got what I personally think is the stupidity of having 35 fast DC chargers in Greater Perth between Rockingham and Yanchep.
I agree.
Which most of those will be white elephants at this stage, at least. But there's no funding for rural charges where we really do need it. So hopefully that'll come out soon, and then some of the charging networks will participate.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's true.
Now we've got I don't know if it's news, but the Mandurah, the target opening for the Mandurah supercharger, which is the only one that's officially on Tesla's map, is Q3 2023, and I'm not sure if that's slipped or anything. And that's all there is for WA.
Is
unfortunately.
Alex online?
Alex is his supercharger stall is there. I'm not sure if Alex is or not. We might see him shortly. Here he
There he
goes.
Alex, do you recall at all about the Mandurah supercharger? Was that ever scheduled for earlier than Q3 23? Do you recall it?
So according to Tesla themselves, it's still on track for the end of March. So, but there's no charger stalls are being installed or anything like that at the moment. But yeah, there's nothing really going on. So yeah, Tesla hasn't made any.
Harold just pulled up the Tesla supercharger map, and it's now saying Q3 23. So it sounds like it's been pushed back a couple of quarters.
Yeah, so this is saying Q3, Alex. So I think that might have been Q1 2023.
Yes, that's
So
correct, Harold. Yep.
so they pushed it back 6 months. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
cool.
That's a real shame.
They might be on the same ship as our bloody performance wives.
Maybe.
You know, that's possible. I'm just trying to see.
They're coming from the same place. They all come. Even the superchargers now come from Shanghai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Albany was not. Is it already active? No.
No.
There was.
No.
Okay.
So Albany, I don't have the photos handy, but the car park is all ready. So the city of Albany were very fast in transforming what was just vacant land near the old jail on the foreshore into fully operational car park space, which is ready for installation. So I think Sandra said that's the next thing coming. I think it was Albany, Walpole, Manjimup,
Right.
and something else.
And Teslas will.
Williams. Sorry, and Williams.
Williams, yeah.
So Synergy are certainly going in there straight away, and I think Sandra mentioned that, you know, Tesla try to do conjunctionals or whatever whenever that's possible. Whether that is in Albany's case, I don't know, or I can't say. But you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, I guess the main point is, as long as Synergy's there with the WEV network, that's a 150 kilowatt charger. That's, you know, that's just as good as a supercharger, or certainly better than no supercharger, or in the absence of a supercharger, should I say. And just coincidentally, I had to go for a bit of a drive yesterday to empty my my battery because it was full, and I actually did because I've got sexy buttons. One new feature they actually have is you can precondition your car manually, so it'll warm the battery like it would if it was on the way to a supercharger.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I arrived at the supercharger with my battery at 42 degrees, which is nice and warm, and I arrived at just under 20%, and I got 170 kilowatts at 20%, 138 at 25, and then onwards downwards, right? Which is actually better than Toby. Sorry, yeah, I think it's Toby Hagen posted last year on EV Central. He had a standard Model Y that he charged up at one of the superchargers, and he plotted out the power levels, and what I got yesterday was better than the levels he posted. But even then, you can see at the very peak at 20%, you got 170 kilowatts on a standard range Model Y, and then it tapered off. Now the headline power for the WEV network is 150 kilowatts. That's a peak power output. They're air-cooled cables, so they're sort of limited to about 250 amps, which is closer to sort of like the 100 kilowatt-ish sort of level once it warms up, and it, you know, obviously will warm up. But as you can see, it's pretty consistent with what a Model Y would do at a supercharger. So really, these ChemPower units are going to be pretty good. because most people won't turn up at 20%. They'll turn up more like at, 30 or 40%. And for a few minutes, this whole charging session took less than half an hour to get from 20 to 90%. So, it's not going to matter if, say, for instance, Tesla comes into Albany after Synergy, or other locations. Don't know about Lancelin and others. If there's, when, because we know Tesla's going to Lancelin because that's in the council documents as well. And
But
that's not on the map.
that's under the assumption that you're not going to have to share the camp power unit, because then it's at most like 75, unless you are then at the lower part and you should get a bit more, right? So, and if you're saying the cables are the limiting factor, okay, so I guess at the
So the cables, I think the
75.
cables, the cables are rated at 250 amps. And for instance, in a Model Y, the battery pack is about 376 volts. So at 376 volts and 250 amps, well, that's 94 kilowatts, but that's 250 amps sort of steady state. But it'll be producing more than that, initially. But if it warms up, it'll have to derate. So, and that's something that we won't know really in practical terms until one of the Chem Power units is eventually commissioned.
Right.
And I presume that'll be, Geraldton or Northampton sometime soon.
A pro tip will be if you rock up to one of the Chem Power units, just feel one cable and then feel the other cable with your hand. And if one feels a lot warmer than the other one, then you obviously charge with the cool one. You'll get a faster charge.
And bring one of those CO2 fire extinguishers, and we'll have to get like a
rapid and dry ice.
Well, you'd have to get like a nozzle adapter that's got like a tube with a T-piece, like latex or something, that you could put over the hose, and just run the CO2 up and down, like massage the hose with CO2 going on it to keep it nice and cool. I don't know if that'd be very
very friendly,
very environmentally friendly to release CO2 as a result of charging, but anyway. But look, even at say 90 kilowatts or 100 kilowatts, you are doing more than 600. Oh no, much more than 600 k's an hour. You're doing like 800 k's an hour. It's still fast charging.
But in principle, when you have two that share, they should be able to output 75 and 75.
Oh yes,
would be less than the cable, right? That was my sort of assumption.
Yep, and I think there are two modes that the Chem Power units can go in. One's called equal share, so you can force 50-50, presuming both cars can take more than 75 kilowatts. You can set it so that they are both forced to take no more than 75 kilowatts each if they're both connected. The other one is whoever's first gets priority. So if you're there first, a little bit like the Eaton supercharger, if you're there first, you'll be given the majority of power, and then the other car gets the dregs until you start tapering down. And as you start tapering down, they'll get the dregs. But in any case, if you turn up and there's one car charging and it's almost finished charging, whatever mode it's in, if it's down at say 48 kilowatts at the bottom at 90%, you will get the remainder. Because I think the Chem Power unit has 8 power modules.
In 25 kilowatt increments,
something like that, yes. So you'll get presumably, several times 25, so maybe that's 100 kilowatts. Even though the other car is at say 50 kilowatts. And if it went down to 25 kilowatts, you'd get 100 and you'd be offered 125. Which is really the same sort of level of charging at a supercharger, roughly, that you get at nearly 30%-ish, roughly. So it's going to be awesome regardless. And obviously the only caveat is when you're on a off-grid roadhouse on the Horizon Power leg of the WEV network. They will be 50 kilowatt tritiums with two nozzles. So you may get as low as
CCS2
25. Yes, with CCS2, two CCS2s, thankfully, and you'll get 25 kilowatts each.
Right.
At worst case, if it's double occupied.
Right. Well, at least better than AC power, right?
Better than
Like,
11 kilowatts on AC.
right.
Oh, sorry, Richard, you got your hand up.
Yes, I have. Thanks, Harold. It's a bit late over here in Melbourne, but I thought I'd just hang about.
Oh, wow, Richard, you really are into the future. Jeez.
Yeah, a bit of a night owl. I'm, as you probably know, traveling over next week. We're actually staying in Denmark, and I found that the accommodation doesn't have any external power outlets. And I guess I'm seeking recommendations for the best places to charge Denmark and or Albany, because we're probably not going to be traveling around too much when we're in Denmark, but it'd be handy to get a decent charge in Albany. And all the talk about the supercharger is not going to be commissioned for a little while yet. Where would be the best places to go there?
Okay, so Albany, well, if you were overnighting in Albany, you could stay.
I'm not.
You're not.
No.
The Shire of Denmark has a Tesla destination charger.
Right.
I'm
But
trying
you
to
can
find it.
only
Sorry.
use that. You can only use that one after hours. Yeah.
No, you can use it in the day. I used it a couple, 2 or 3 weeks back. So Shire of Denmark quite keen for people to pop in, and they will even move the cars out of the way if they've got cars in there. You just have to go to the front desk and ask the lady there, and she'll send somebody out and move them out of the way.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And Albany, you've got the MG chargers down at the Hilton. Again, they're supposed to be for Hilton guests, but I think if you just pop into the reception and just say, I need a charge, they'll let you use them. And the one in the Civic Centre, that one is usually available. Just use plug share, make sure nobody's in it.
Okay.
Actually, there's an off-label one. Just when you get to the Hilton, if I can get a satellite image up, if you've got an extension cord. So, this is frustrating. This block of land actually has a multi-story Hilton hotel on it, so just excuse that bit. But if you go to this, this is the entertainment centre, and I think if you just go for a walk near where this is a pedestrian overpass. Somewhere in here, in a little post underneath the walkway, is a 32 amp 3-phase outlet. Somewhere around here, and there's also another one sort of along here. So you'd have to use it a little bit off label, maybe park your car sort of here, and then you could use the extension cord to charge up at 32 amps 3-phase. But as Chris said, at the Hilton, they've now, last time I was there, it was just this 20 amp outlet in the car park, but they've now replaced it with the MG untethered Type 2.
Yeah,
just to point that one out, Harold. I went and asked them why there were so many ICE cars parked in those bays, and the guy said, "Oh, it's the staff. It's the only place where we have a camera." So the staff park in those bays, which I thought was quite amusing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I
yes.
have actually given back the my loaner Type 2 to Type 2 cable in favour of the 3-phase extension cable. So if I'm faced with an untethered MG charger and a 20 amp socket, I'm okay as long as I don't need to use an extension, because I think the extension cable will only work on 32 amp, I believe.
No, so do you have a 20 amp to a 32 amp adapter?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. All right. So in that
Got a
case,
20 amp tail and a 32 amp tail, but the extension cable.
sorry, what's a 22 amp tail? A 20 amp tail? Is that a single phase? Is it?
No, it should be for 3-phase.
And what's it going into?
It's a juice booster.
Oh, right, juice booster. Cool. Okay, no problem. Okay, so if you've got a juice booster with a 20 amp tail, so in other words, it will plug into. Sorry, apologies for that. Now I understand what you mean, because you haven't got an extension cable for it. Yeah, gotcha. So if you look at, so you've got on your juice booster, you've got a version that's a 20 amp Clipsal that'll plug into this with the big flat thing. This one you will not need an extension cable because, in fact, I think this is probably my car. It's just next to the shed, so you can either park on this side if it's available. You can park next to it if it's available. You can park here, and that will be all within juice booster range. And if you're desperate, what you could do, from memory, is I think you can just mount. I think that's a driveway there, and you can get onto this footpath, at least for a short time, to charge up while you're with the car on this outlet, which is 20 amps, 3-phase. But like I said, if you actually look around, you go for a little walk, and along this wall of the entertainment centre, there's 32 amp outlets here, but that might be a little bit of a distance for your. Oh no, and that's 32 amps. So your extension cable will work. Yeah. And I think, like I said again, if you walk under this, I think it's literally under this second part of the footbridge, there is actually in the ground, stuck on a little post at sort of waist height, or not even knee height, there's a 32 amp 3-phase here as well. So you could use that as well. If the Tesla destination charger, which is just here and is at the visitor center, which is unfortunately often in use, there's one charger. It just depends on the day that you're there.
Okay, cool. No, that's great. So I might have to take my chances in Denmark. I might even just have to use a decent heavy duty 10 amp extension cable out of a window or something in the accommodation.
Well, in the accommodation, just have a little scout to see if they've got a Rinnai Infinity, whatever it's called, instant hot water service, because they all have a 10 amp. They're all connected to a 10 amp GPO, and you can just temporarily unplug that and plug your car into that without having to open a window or anything.
Yeah.
So that's a good pro tip. Just look for instant hot water services at where you're staying.
There's a church on Duke Street that has a 15 amp plug on the wall just outside the church, and again, if you just pop in and see.
So say that first bit again, Chris. We missed your very first. Which a charger where?
At the church on Duke Street. I think it's at the side of the Albert Hall, not the Royal Albert Hall, but the
which town?
In Albany.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, I think Richard was looking in Denmark.
In Denmark. Okay.
Yep, because you're going to stay in Denmark, aren't you, Richard?
Correct. Yeah. So we'll be passing through Albany. So if I can juice the car up there, that'd be great. But when we're in Denmark, it'd be handy to have something where we can just, put a few kilowatt hours in.
Are you staying in Denmark at all, overnight or anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So look, I just go to the council, depending on when you get there, and as Chris has said, they'll only be too happy. Even though if you read PlugShare, it does say only available out of business hours, weekdays and weekends. Just talk to them, and they'll probably, as Chris has indicated, they'll only be too happy to do their best to accommodate you. Particularly if you say you've driven all the way from eastern states and you're rather tired.
Yes. Yeah, good tip. And just a little bit of trivia. I was on a slightly different topic. Ended up getting a Space Saver tyre from Bromac in Melbourne. Got a good deal on the full kit with scissor jack and everything. So I'm proudly sporting that. And I noticed one of my tyres losing a bit of pressure. Found a screw in there, and I thought, okay, I could plug it and drive across the Nullarbor with a plug. And then I had to bite the bullet and buy 2 new tyres just for the trip across. And unfortunately, there's still 50% tread on the other ones, but for a trip across the Nullarbor, I just can't risk it. So I've got a brand new Space Saver tyre and 2 brand new tyres on the front. So, a
You're all
few
set.
$100 later. Yeah, all set. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's cool. I
And
only
it was
just
great.
go on.
Oh, it was great meeting you all the other day at York too, by the way. I was only there for a short time, but it was good to put names to faces and faces to names.
Absolutely. No, it was great to see you there, and that was really a great casual meetup. And yeah, it's awesome. And we look forward to seeing you, basically quasi-permanently here with your awesome car.
Yep. Fantastic. Thanks very much for having me. Cheers. Thanks
No
for your
worries.
advice.
And safe travels. And like I said, your best commodity is flexibility. Is your best asset. Just be flexible, be cool, drive as long as you're comfortable, and
ABC.
ABC, always be charging. The first thing you do is plug in above everything else. Do nothing but plug in first, and then everything else comes second. And then after that, you can relax. Yeah, that's right. Plug in first, ask questions later. Definitely. Cool.
All right, I'll say good night. Thank you very, very much.
No worries, and we look forward to seeing you locally in a local time zone soon.
Good on you. Okay,
All
thanks,
right.
guys.
Take care, Richard. Cheers.
Bye.
Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? We're actually almost getting towards bedtime. Pete, you got anything for us? I think I've done everything we need to do.
Did anyone see the news the other night? Channel 9, I think it was Monday or Tuesday night. Rio's converted Hilux utes to electric utes, which I reckon is a stupid thing, but it would have cost them an arm and a leg. Why not buy a Model Y? But do exactly the same job, only better, because they can be four-wheel drive if you want them. They bought the Hiluxes with diesel motors, threw all that out, converted to electric by a company in Melbourne or Sydney. I can't remember which now. But it would have cost a squillion. And I reckon a Model Y would do a better job anyway, even though it's a hatchback. They don't use the utes very much quite often for carting stuff around. I think they've done as an exercise to pretend they're green.
It's politics because BHP's got the contract with Tesla, and Rio doesn't, so it would have been politics.
Yeah, there's a bit more to it as well, though, Peter, because I've been unsuccessfully looking at this with work, because the thing is, you've got to think about how you use vehicles on a mine, and you've got LV workshops that are all tooled up with spare windscreens and doors, and all of our radio kits are all designed to fit into like Hiluxes and cruisers. We've got all the tires and wheels and suspension components, and much as a Model Y would be great for like people that live residentially and managers and that to commute into operations and back. That having that back tray as well. I have had some pricing, not from them but from others, and it's not too bad. What they've done is, I think that I saw they were doing 8,500, so they'll probably get quite a bit of economies of scale there. They'll be able to sell those engines on the open market, as good new spares. So I'm thinking that they'll probably get a price lower than what I've seen, which is already pretty good for I think there was a 60 kilowatt and maybe a 90 kilowatt hour options. So I know on the face of it, it seems like why didn't they just go Model Ys? But actually, when and sorry, just another tangent in that you try and give someone in mining a Model Y, their head will explode.
Yes.
If you give them a Hilux with a different powertrain, they'll get in it, drive a few hundred meters down the road, go, oh yeah, this is all right, and then the problem's solved.
Yeah, good point, Richard.
Did everybody see that LDV had launched electric?
Yes, I've actually been speaking to LDV for months on this in the same vein. It is very pricey and only rear-wheel drive, and LDVs have had a bit of a checkered quality, thing. And again, it comes back to what servicing do you have in mining? Changing one of those out, I'd actually argue would be harder than actually putting a converted Hilux or a Cruiser into operations. But it's great to see, and I'd love to have one if they were cheaper.
So what a missed opportunity of Toyota, who belligerently just insist, or Nissan or whoever, that just belligerently just ignore the market and just poke their heads in the sand and just ignore it.
But Toyota's got the mining game so well.
If we had the Toyota lobby budget, we could build an EV charging station in every corner.
The times may be changing even at Toyota. So Mr. Toyota, who was the last member, he's handed over the reins, and seems like the current CEO is trying to be respectful, as in Japanese culture you have to be to the outgoing CEO, but slowly but surely seems to be swinging the boat around. But it's a big boat.
I don't know, man. And until they do a Ford and bring out an electric Land Cruiser from the ground up, I'm not buying it. I hope I'm wrong. Sorry, Pete, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
What's even more worrying is VW now with what was his name? The old CEO.
Herbert Diess.
Herbert Diess. Yeah, with him out, they've gone back the other way at VW.
Well, all that means is that Tesla is going to have to try and get to 20 million cars per annum even quicker, and perhaps not stop at 20 million and just keep going.
Exactly.
And what was that? One of Tesla's board members said that Elon Musk said he would be okay if Tesla went broke because some other car manufacturer made a better car than they could. A theoretical manufacturer. Because Elon Musk's point is to advance accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, and if that meant that Tesla had to die because someone else was better, so be it. But of course, it's the opposite, isn't it? It's Tesla's the best, and many others are going to die.
I'd actually argue that Tesla's mission is completely succeeded, and if they died tomorrow, I think the cat's out of the bag now.
It is. Good point. It is very much so. And
not that
perhaps,
any of us obviously want that, but yeah. And
that's right.
Thank you, Mr. Putin, ultimate environmentalist, for accelerating the transition to a sustainable energy and transport.
Absolutely. Well, I think on that note, unless we've got any last drinks, we might round out this awesome WAEV network update special. Pete, as if I didn't know already, how would you round out this awesome show?
Always stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
The best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
Making the future awesome.
Have an awesome week, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next week on Ask Us Anything.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
See you guys.
Not everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.